Hey guys, happy Sunday. I hope you are having a glorious Sunday. Let me know what you have cooked up today and what you got going on this week, and maybe shenanigans that you got into last week. But before we dive into all of our shenanigans today, if you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can learn a little bit more about me by checking out that information box down below, checking out the website, kittensweightsandtarot.com, maybe the Witchy Shop, Desert Cauldron over on Etsy. And yeah, okay. So before I get started with that too, I also wanted to mention thank you to my YouTube members and my patrons and my subscribers for all of the wonderful feedback with all of the changes that I'm making to Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. It's, a gradual process, but we're going with the flow, just kind of, listening to what we are to be doing, with this channel and the way that we can serve people the best. All right. So, hey, little Phoenix is here. She says, greetings, fellow Earthwalkers. Well, hello. All right. So we are going to get started making a tea before we dive into all of our goodies for today. So I'm going to be taking you outside for a little walkabout because the herb that I'm going to be talking about actually grows wild around here. And so I thought it'd be good for you guys to see, it in its different, I guess, forms of growth, what it looks like in the wintertime, because many books have what it looks like in the springtime or in the summertime, but rarely what it looks like in the winter. So I think it would be really good to get a view of that. And then based on your votes, we are going to be diving into various ways that you could place the healing power in your hands in order to heal your arthritis. So things that you could do along with prayer to help with your arthritic needs. So that was based on what you guys voted for in the public poll, the Patreon poll, and the YouTube poll. So if you are a YouTube member or a patron, you get extra votes. So if there's something you are aching to see, then you can help kind of skew the vote, stuff that ballot box so you can get what you're looking for. There were some other runners-up. So I guess you guys were kind of interested in all of the topics that I placed into that poll. So there was how to change a tire, because talking to many of my friends and several people I've dated, a lot of people just don't know how to change a tire. And it's like, it seems like such a basic thing because a lot of people drive automobiles. And if something, like a tire goes flat and, we're left stranded out somewhere, we don't want to be stranded out somewhere. We don't want to have to call AAA to come out and fix our tire while we wait for like 2 or 3 hours or however long it takes for them to get out there. So I thought it'd be really cool to kind of teach you guys how to do that, but maybe we could do that in a future live chat. Also, there was a baking like our native ancestors. So I have this ancestral recipe book with like traditional recipes. So this isn't stuff where, our native ancestors could just go to the store and be like, oh, I'm gonna get this and get this. It was based on the environment, and it's the natives from this area and this state. So I thought that would be really fun. But again, perhaps we could do that in a future live chat. And then, because I love cigars, I thought we could do a little cigar 411, little info on stogies. And that was actually really close. It was the native ancestor cigars, and what we're doing today with arthritis was pretty close. And then following behind was change a tire. So anyway, all right. So many of our friends are here. Hello, guys. When I get back out into the living room, I'll be able to see more clearly all of your comments once I get my laptop, which is out there. But let's go ahead and make a tea. And the type of tea that I thought would be really fun to make for today is a happy tea. So, sometimes people might get the blues in the winter time, we're in I guess we're like mid-January, mid to late January now. And it still stays pretty cold in February. In some places it's like snow all the way till May, sometimes even June. So I thought we could warm ourselves up with a little bit of happy tea. So first of all, you are going to need your teacup, a little bit of ground cinnamon. You are going to need some honey, and a little bit of milk of your choice. I'm using almond milk. Okay, so I'm going to put the kettle on, heat up some water because we're going to mix some water with that milk. So stay tuned. Alrighty, so the tea is heating up. Basically, what I'm going to do is just fill half of the mug with water, and then the other half is going to be with the frothed milk that I'm going to make using my handy dandy little Christmas gift, my little whisker. Um, Not whiskers like a kitten, but if you want to put a whisker in your tea, I mean, more power to you, boo. But I'm just going to be using a little whisk here. And for those of you that like to um, employ and include your crystal allies, more beautiful friends of the earth, I have my clear quartz and I have a citrine. Both have piezoelectric activity. So what is piezoelectric? It means that it is really good at conducting current and electricity. And since we are over 70% water, our bodies are literal piezoelectric magnetism machines. So, so we actually can generate a lot of our own power. And some people have done like exercises where they put something in their hands to be able to conduct the electricity like out, or piezoelectricity out of their fingertips, and they were like holding a light bulb and they like literally lit the light bulb up, which was pretty cool. But clear quartz is akin to what we have inside of our bodies, and citrine, which has like a mineral inclusion in it that gives it that yellow color. Some people might see it with the bright orange color. That's actually heat treated amethyst. And although amethyst is in the quartz family, and again, there are certain minerals that give it that purpley color, some people like to heat treat it. They super treat it, kind of like, I suppose at the temperatures the earth would do it naturally, and it turns it this like dark orange color. But some natural citrines are really light, some are a little bit darker, but definitely check to see if it's heat treated or not. And if you like working with heat treated or not working with heat treated, that's a personal choice. But for me, I have my natural little citrine and I have my little quartz, and I figured it'd be really good to put some of that conductive energy into our drink. So I have my little Christies there. It sounds like our water is good to go. So I'm going to go fill up my mug halfway. All right, my little forest friends. Okay, so, ooh, can you see the steam coming off of it? We have some boiling water in here, filled up about halfway. And I am going to put some of that honey into my teacup, like so. I'll try not to go overkill on the honey. We'll see. Oh, that'll do ya. Okay. Oh, no. We've gone too far. We knew too much. Mm-hmm. Arizona raw honey. Also, really good too, if you are going to put honey into anything, try to get local honey from your area. It helps out with allergies. So does bee pollen and things like that. So raw honey, honeycomb, anything from your area. Okay. All right. We're going to give this a little stir because right now the honey is settled at the bottom. All right. And then I'm going to put a little bit, maybe like a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon in here. Okay, well, that was about a teaspoon and a half. That's cool. It came out like a wrecking ball. All right. So I'm going to stir that up as well. Okay. And then we are going to froth the milk, my favorite part. Power. Oh, yeah. Do it. Do it. Get frothy. I dare you. Show me what your mama made you. Show me what you're working with. So it's getting all, yeah, it's like doubles in size. Okay, let's see if we can froth this up a little more. You know, I was just thinking might be really yummy in here. A little bit of butter. We could do that. Ooh. It's getting so frothy now. You can see it's like doubled in size. It's crazy. Okay. This frother is like, how frothy are you trying to make this milk? It's like already frothy. I'm like, okay. Alrighty. All right, let me try to rinse this off without getting this bucket wet. Okay. All right, all rinsed. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this frothed milk in here. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I'm going to show you guys in a second. And then we'll head out to the living room so I can chitty chat with you guys. Good times. All right. So this is what our happy tea looks like. It's just literally water, cinnamon, honey, very frothed almond milk, and a little bit of that piezoelectricity helping it out with our quartz and our citrine, which was hanging out next to it. And check out my coaster. I have these like nerdy little coasters, but I like my nerdy self. They're kitties of Star Trek, the next generation. This is Geordie LaPaw instead of Geordie LaForge, you know. Anyway, okay, let me put this out in the kitchen and then we'll head out into the living room. Okay, my friends. All right, turn my little lights off and we'll head out skis. Take my little Christies with me. Put them in my pocket. Okay, here we go. Okay, maybe I will close this door here. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, we've made it to the living room. Let's see, I'm gonna put my little tea down here. And pardon the noise, I'm going to lift the tripod a scotch. There we go. Okay, and we're back. Okay, all right, now I can see all your wonderful comments. Okay, let's see. Lila says, I made a tea blend I bought once upon a time. It's absolutely delicious, called California Dream. Ooh, there is a beverage that I like called California Creamin'. Really good, but difficult to find. And she said she's almost out, must find more or figure out what its contents are. Delisha is also here. Hello, Delisha. How are you? Let's see. Delisha says, golden milk, I told you in the previous live stream. Now it's here this time. It's not the full golden milk, so it's not super golden, but it is really happy. And Costalini is here and says, how did you get all of these life skills? Well, you have to find yourself in a lot of odd places, go on a lot of odd adventures, meet a lot of odd people who help you have a lot of odd skills along the way. I don't know. Sometimes I have like memories that pop in and I'm like, what do I remember that from? I'm like, what is that memory from? It's like, I have so much that's like happened in my life. It's like a smorgasbord of stuff. And I'm pretty sure I'd be pretty good at Jeopardy. I don't know. Let's see. Delisha says, I'm doing fine. She has an exam in the morning. Today it's 2:30 a.m. Holy cow, you need to get to bed, my friend, so that you are wide awake for your exam. Everybody wishing Delisha good luck. Delisha says, the wooden moon phase hanging plate behind you is pretty. Well, thank you. That one, I like to hang my dried herbs on it. And actually, there's some marigolds hanging on it that I bought during Dia de los Muertos. So they've been hanging there for a while now. They're probably crispy dry, but we'll see. I don't know. Sometimes I just like to hang them for a long time. Lola says, may the odds be ever in your favor for Delisha's test. And Delisha says, I have my golden milk beside the bed, only which my mom gave to have before sleeping. What a coincidence you're making it now. Well, here we go. Bottoms up. Freaking delicious. That is so good. I wish there was like smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision, but until we get to that technology that they allow us to finally unveil, we'll just have to view it for now. And she said, next time, have it warm, only because using a frother may not get it. It's good real taste. Oh, okay. And she said, cinnamon, I thought you were using turmeric powder. Now whatever I wrote before in the chat is wasted. No, next time, one of these times, I'll make the golden milk and I'll make it on the stove, nice and warm. But yeah, this is just a cinnamon honey milk water drink, but it's super, super tasty. She says, this is what exams are doing to me. Man, that is pretty freaking good, I must say. Good job, Tara. You're welcome. Thanks. Anyway, So before we head out today, because like I said, we're going to dive into what you guys voted on, which are various methods that you could do to work on healing your arthritis, along with everything else you do in your spiritual practice, prayer and everything. So let's dive into our herb that I thought that we could work with, meditate with, utilize this week, and that is mullein. Sometimes I would call it mullein, and everybody was like, what the heck is mullein? And I'm sorry, I mispronounce things. And I know I was an English teacher, but call me Shakespeare. I like to make stuff up as I go along. So anyway, we are going to be taking a look at mullein, and I thought it would be really good too, because mullein, like I said, grows wild out here. So I have this book called Herbal Medicine, Natural Remedies by Anne Kennedy, another one of my plethora of herbal books in my library. Definitely a great book. It has a lot on herbal information, but mostly what it has are different herbal remedies, hence the name, natural remedies. So you would look it up like, I have laryngitis, or I'm having heart palpitations, or I have stomach issues, or pink eye, or whatever. It'll show you what herbs to utilize, kind of proper dosage and everything like that. But of course, I'm not a doctor, so I can only offer advice, and you go clear it with whatever doc you have. So whether it's your naturopathy doctor or Western medicine doctor or Eastern medicine, I don't know. So just clear it with your doc. Okay, mullein. When it is flowering, usually in the summertime. For here, it's summertime. Other places it might be around springtime, but here in the summer, especially late summer, when we have our monsoons and it gets the soil all nice and saturated. Hopefully we get some really good monsoons this year. We have a lot of things that grow wild, like our mullein, our clover, our milk thistle. Actually, what's interesting is milk thistle is right on the next page, and it looks just like that. And cows get into it. It's not so good for cows, but it's good for people. Anyway, this is what mullein looks like when it is flowering. It's got these multitude of little yellow flowers on this very long stalk. And when it's dried out, it was the original Roman candle. Like, it really was. All you had to do was take the stalk, dip it in wax, and burn it. And it would burn for days. Excuse me, especially if it had a really long stalk. Probably, maybe a week or two. Okay, so here's what mullein has to say. Mullein is really good for coughs, earaches, sore throats, and it says they are no match for mullein, which offers both analgesic and antibacterial properties. It's also a mucilage, which means it's really good at getting, like, if you have a lot of stuff in your lungs, like mucus and stuff, it's an expectorant, so it'll help to get you to cough all that nasty stuff out of your lungs. Also, our native friends used it for people that had bronchitis or, different lung issues. And you might be wondering, well, why would somebody smoke something if they're trying to heal their lungs? And that's because of how mullein interacts with fire, with smoke. And it's really good at just healing those lungs. So it's not burning, it's not hurting the lungs, but it definitely is healing for the lungs. And a lot of our native ancestors knew that. Okay, a fresh poultice made from ground or mashed mullein leaves makes a good first aid treatment for minor wounds, burns, and insect bites. So minor burns would be like, I burn my hand with really hot water, or I touched a hot pot by accident, or I burned my neck with the curling iron. We know that sometimes burning the neck with the curling iron was kind of a fib when you be making out with your significant other. Anyway, mullein would be really good applied to that to help it heal a lot faster, and certain insect bites, especially mosquitoes and things like that. So if it's growing wild in your area, it's pretty easy to go out there, just go get some fresh leaves, mash them up with your grinder to really get the juices flowing. Just literally just slap it right on there, like the mashed up leaves, just. And if you want to put a paper towel over it, you could, but that's up to you. Okay, so the parts of the plant that are utilized are the leaves and the flowers. It says precaution. Mullein is generally considered safe Wildcraft only in areas where you're certain that the soil is free from herbicides, pesticides, and other chemicals. Out here, nobody is spraying the land with herbicides, pesticides, and other chemicals except from whatever falls from chemtrails. But anyway, it's otherwise really safe soil out here. And how I know that our soil is pretty good is because certain plants that other people would consider weeds, like they're little tiny purple flowers in the summertime or sometimes yellow flowers, known as what are those stars. They're like star flowers. They grow only when nutrient depleted soil needs a little bit of help. So they're there to put the nutrients back in the soil. So technically, the more of like these little quote unquote weeds you have in the soil, the more nutrients are being placed back into the soil. So it'll be really good for the next growing season. And hello, we are getting ready for that next growing season, at least up here. Our final frost date is May 9th. And our first frost is October 10th. And generally, we would have a frost depth of 12 to 24 inches. So I'm actually going to be doing raised beds. That's going to be my project this year before February rolls around, because I'm going to start my seeds indoors, and then I'll plant them outdoors like April, May, depending on how cold it is and if we get any more snow. But I'm going to be using local lava rock, which is pretty cool because lava rock will absorb the heat and create like a radiant heat in the soil, warming up the soil, keeping the plants from, well, getting too frostbitten while we're out there, so put my little seedlings out there. Okay, off my tangent. Okay, identifying and growing. With its tall central spike covered in bright yellow flowers, mullein is easy to spot from a distance. These stately plants grow to an average height of 3 to 4 feet. You'll see when we go out there, they get pretty tall. And they're common throughout Europe, North America, and the Mediterranean region. If you want to grow your own mullein, they do sell mullein seeds online. I'll show you actually how to collect mullein seeds when we get out there, because a lot of those stalks that are nice and dried now, they're full of like probably a bazillion seeds. Maybe not a trillion, but thousands, maybe 1,000 seeds. And you just kind of like shake it all over and let Mother Nature take care of the rest. You don't really need to put it too deeply into the soil. But it says, collect the seeds from the plants after the flowers fade. Pat the seeds onto the soil, but don't cover them as they need light to germinate. So hence, don't put them down into the soil. Water them and transplant them after the first leaves appear. You can start harvesting the leaves the very first year. And by the second year, that big, tall, what it's recognized for, that flower spike will appear. Collect the flowers and leaves and buds from mature 2-year-old plants and make sure not to over harvest. Our native ancestors would say there is like a 10% rule. So you only take 10% or less of the plants that are available. So if you see, 100 mullein, we would only harvest really like 10 mullein plants, Okay, so let's go out and go check out some mullein. Let's see. Alicia said, we will do our super chat. So Delisha, I will make sure that you are at the top of the list for our super chats when we get there. After we come back in and talk a little bit about arthritis, and then we'll definitely dive into those super chats. Delisha said, this one is cool and funny. Costalini says, oh, that's my birthday. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Hey, happy birthday. Let's see. Lola says, I vote for making mullein candles at some point. I put that in the polls at one point. It almost won. So I'm going to put it in the polls again because I would love to make mullein candles with you guys. And they're really pretty too. I mean, it's not like your average candle. Like we have a candle burning back there. It's, where it's like beautiful, cylindrical and smooth and beautiful color or something. It's nature's color. It's got texture galore. And if you also wanted to like roll it in, a certain type of herb for extra potency, you could do that too. Freaking Roman candles, mullein candles are really cool. Delisha said that her birthday is May 22nd. Ooh. So Oh, spring baby. Oh, I'm sorry. Costellini. You know what? Maybe I'm like so giddy on my tea right now. I was like, wait, your birthday's today? No, I was talking about the frost dates. That's right. May 9th and October 10th. So yeah, May 9th. Well, future, happy birthday. Mm, this stuff's really good. Mm. Okay, before we head out, I wanted to show you a couple of different ways that I utilize mullein here. So I have a lot of mullein, a lot, because I use it in almost everything, especially if I'm going to make a smoke blend, like smoke blend. Um, I am going to put mullein in it because it helps to protect my lungs. And if I'm feeling sicky, which I haven't been sicky in a really long time, but if I were, I would make sure to, make something, a tea or again, something to smoke if I was like having some lung issues, kind of sick. I would make that with mullein. There you go. And it's light and fluffy. It's like, ooh, it's very, very light. So if you were to get an ounce of it, it'd be like an ounce is a lot of mullein. Magically speaking, our ancestors would use it for purification ceremonies. They would use it for divination, health, which we like to use it for health, for courage, for exorcism or deflection of energy. And sometimes people use it in lieu of like graveyard dirt and things like that. But I really like this plant. I think it's like we've become really good friends, and so I will talk to mullein. I will hang out with mullein. I'm like, hey, how's it going in the plant world? But this is a plant that I've built a really close relationship with. So I try it in a variety of ways, and I really listen to it, and I kind of feel into its energy, how it would like to be utilized. I've used it in salves, like healing salves, along with other herbs like calendula and echinacea and things like that. But when I rub it on dry skin, or like I have some rough patches or something like that, I'll just like rub that on. It's just freaking so good. Okay, so I have it in its dried form here, but I also have mullein in this tincture form, and I recently used it in a personal tincture blend that I was making for Riley. It's called Spine's Fine Tincture. And I put that in the newsletter, the whole recipe and everything. So if you're interested in like different recipes and things like that, I always put that in that monthly newsletter, which you can sign up for. And the link for that is down below, or you can just head to my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. And there is like at the very top in the toolbar, there's a link to the newsletter. So you can sign up. But I had this whole thing, like all these different tinctures that I used to make that Spine's Fine. You could also take this directly, just place it on your tongue, swallow it if you're feeling sickly. And you can use it for, various other things. You could do this topically. It does have, this particular tincture has alcohol in it. That's kind of its, what do I want to say? Its holder, how it was extracted, alcohol extraction. There we go. So if I were going to put this into something to put onto my skin, I probably wouldn't put this particular like tincture directly on my skin. I would probably put it into something else like castor oil or something, and then rub it onto my skin, just to kind of create a little bit of a soothing barrier, because you want to burn yourself with alcohol. So anyway. So there's that. And maybe while we're out there, I'll take a little picture of mullein with you guys. I have a new camera. So one thing I used to do, I used to be a professional photographer, but I kind of like just taking my own pictures. So I got tired of taking pictures for people. So anyway, I just kind of do my own thing now. But I bought this cool Fujifilm Instax, or Insta-X. Some people just call it Instax Mini Evo camera. So it's meant to look like the old school cameras, and actually still have a camera that's original and it looks just like this, which is kind of cool. But it has like all the modernization to it, which makes it fun too. So they call it like a hybrid camera where it has a rechargeable battery instead of blown through AA batteries. And you can print out your picture just like a Polaroid camera. Of course, that's not the official name. Polaroid was a company, but everybody just calls it Polaroids now. But it's instant pictures. But you can view on your viewfinder your picture, and you don't have to print it right away. You can go through and decide what pictures you like and you don't like, and then you just print the ones that you do like. There's like an app and everything where you can like share it on social media. You can create collections. So it's like 2026 technology with some older technology. And then there's button functions on here that work pretty much like 90s technology, where it's simplistic. There's a couple of filters here and there, kind of like when we got our very first phones, our flip phones, where we could take pictures with our phones back in the early 2000s, late 90s. And it was like, ooh, and you had like a couple of little filters here and there. So there's like 10 filters, 10 what they call effects, and 10 times 10 is 100. So technically like 100 different variations that you could take. But I think it's fun. And they look just like this. So this was from a recent little trip that we took in the Jeep out into the forest, saying hi to Imach, our Sasquatch friend. And of course, Vader, who's not out here at the moment, he's in the bedroom. I gave him a little photo shoot. So there's Vader Nader. So see, you could do like really cool things like that. But hey, let's head outside and maybe let's give Mullen a photo shoot while we talk a little bit about it. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on like this and try not to hit my microphone. Lilith says, I might put it in a pouch as if it's fairy dust to conduct exorcisms on the go. Hey, that works too. That works too. Lilith said, pretty camera. I friggin' love this thing. And oh, by the way, if you put in the mini SD card, and I bought the bundle with this camera, so it came with a pack of 20, film, and it came with a flash drive and a mini SD card, like converter thing, so that I could take the little tiny SD card and basically put it in the flash drive. So all the pictures that you took can be uploaded into your computer. And again, you don't have to print every picture that you took, just print the ones that you want. But it's not like before where you took a picture, like you just wasted one, spot on the camera. So, if you jacked up, then it's like, ugh. So that was like the drawback I felt like when I had film cameras, and I still have a couple of my film cameras. And did you know that Walgreens still processes film? So I just dropped off my film. I'm pretty excited. I'll get it back in 3 weeks. Anyway, but like you would take a picture and you had no idea if it came out all right or not. You just kind of got to hope, and through trial and error and just kind of knowing your camera, you kind of felt into whether the picture was pretty good. And then you have to wait, how long to get your pictures back. And then you're like, oh, wow. So I took a picture of that person's butt. Nice. Anyway, okay. I digress. Let's go outside. Man, that's good. Okay. Let's go, homies. Out we go. With my little camera. Take a picture of Mullen. Let's go this way. Okay. Yay, what a beautiful day. Check out the sun up there. Gorgeous. Not so much, but the rest of nature, beautiful. Okay, let's go find, got some big mullein stalks over here. or at least there was a big one. There it is. Yay. Okay. And there's some leaves that aren't totally dried out. Okay. We're just walking past the barn right now. Okay. So let's see. Can you guys see? Yep. All right. Get in nice and tight. This is a mullein stalk. I don't know if all the seeds have come out yet. Ooh, they haven't. Maybe there are a billion trillion seeds, but they're super tiny. They look like that. So you see how they look like little bugs or something? They're really little seeds. It probably is like a billion trillion. Anyway, so you basically just let them fall to the ground. Actually, maybe I'll just tap this guy out. Dump your little seeds, my friend. But this guy, ooh, maybe I won't lift him too high. He's taller than 4 feet. You know, in the book it said, oh, they grow to about 3 to 4 feet. Those are always just guidelines in books. Definitely go out and get to know your plants. Because this plant is, let's see, I'm farming it. So this is probably like 5'2". It's a really tall stalk. Actually, this is probably the biggest stalk that I saw on the property this year. So down here, let me take you guys to this side. And we can get low. Okay, so here are the leaves. And actually, these leaves don't belong to the stalk over here. Down in the center, there's going to be a stalk that will eventually grow. This is probably just the first year of this plant because usually when the leaves appear, the stalk also appears. So although you could probably harvest these leaves this year, you'd probably wait till next year when the big stalk comes out to be able to harvest the seeds or the flowers for whatever it is that you were going to use it for. But anyway, the leaves are super soft. They're almost like lamb's ear. And lamb's ear is a type of plant and ground cover that is native to the Middle East, but people have brought over here. And they're not really used for much other than looking really pretty and being really soft and fuzzy. But so these leaves, these very soft, fuzzy leaves, you would take these, put them in your mortar and pestle, and just pound the crap out of it so that the juices would come out. And you would just slap that right on your first-degree burn, your insect bite, or whatever is inflamed and itchy and is in need of a little help. And oh, hey, we got a little spider friend over here. Well, hey, I won't bother you. You take care of mullein. Okay, but over here, we have another mullein plant. So also really soft and beautiful. But yeah, we have a bunch of these on the property. And the fact that they are on the property shows that our soil is pretty good right now. And so you'll notice mullein growing oftentimes like along roadsides or in ditches. Which yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Don't mind the neighbor dogs. Okay, so this is another beautiful stalk of mullein that we have on the property. This one had a bunch of stalks instead of one like really tall stalk. So basically what you would do to make a candle is just break one of these off and dip it in wax. Like literally, it's pretty simple, but you know, we'll make it more funsies when and if you guys vote on making that. So, all right, well, let's head back in. But here we are. You guys can see there's mullein stalks like all around here, and one right down here. Like, hello. It's not a stalk though, it's just the leaves. So these are the younger plants. These plants have only been here about a year, whereas the other ones are 2+ years old. So again, and you would know that because a stalk would be coming out of it the second year. So these don't have it, but you could still utilize the leaves if you wanted to. Okay, well, let's head in, my friends. And so you're probably wondering, well, how come it doesn't have those beautiful yellow flowers? And that's because it is winter time here in the White Mountains. So everything that was just so full of color here in late summer, autumn. For me, autumn is like, it's like second spring here because there's so much color around here. Like every flower and flowers you didn't even know exist are like blooming here. But by winter, they've all kind of died off and they're becoming nutrients for the soil so that they can rise again the following season. Okay, guys, well, let's head back in. I was going to get a picture of mullein, but the sun's at a weird angle. I don't think it would make such a great picture. Okay. All right, I'm going to take my boots off. Excuse me. Maybe I'll keep them outside here. Don't want to track mud into the house. Okay. And we're back. Okay. All right. Whew. Hope you guys like that little outdoor walk to go check out mullein and what it looks like this time of year. And right now it's ripe for shaking those seeds off so that we can have more little mullein plants next year. Okay. Alicia said, finally, we're going out. And Lila says, dump your little seeds, my friend. That's what she said. Oh my gosh. Our brains are so similar. It's scary. Anyway, Lila says, very interesting. It almost looks like kale. It does, but the leaves are probably twice the thickness of kale leaves, maybe even 3 times the thickness. So they're very thick leaves and they're super fuzzy. But as far as being like really large and green, yeah, they definitely do resemble kale. Costalini says, yeah, I must have been cutting out. I might have been too far from the router. Okay. Lilith was like, internet said no. It's like, how dare you learn about plants in your area and share that with people so that they can help themselves? No. Internet Nazis. Okay. All right. Back to our tea. Now we're going to be diving into what you guys voted on, which was healing arthritis. So yes, we can go inwards. We can, through prayer and meditation, ask like what imbalance is there in my body that my body is trying to show me physically, you know. So it could be something that has to deal with a trauma. It could be something that is weighing heavy on my mind or on my shoulders, creating some sort of energetic imbalance, and therefore it is showing itself in the body. But as we do our spiritual healing and energetic healing, we could also heal in the physical as well. So as within, so without, as above, so below. Okay. Mm. I'm probably going to have to make more of this tea because it's pretty delicious. Okay. Arthritis. Let's read a little bit about it first, because some people throw around the term arthritis as like a blanket term, like I have arthritis. But there's osteoarthritis, there's rheumatoid arthritis, different types of arthritis. And depending on the type of arthritis you have, that also determines the type of treatment that you would give to yourself. So, okay, diving into arthritis. If you want to know what I'm reading from this book that was actually a gift from a neighbor who got it at a thrift store. It might still be in publication, so definitely go check it out. But it says New Choices in Natural Healing, over 1,800 of the best self-help remedies from the world of alternative medicine. So every suggestion in this book says, this suggestion is from Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so from this study. So I'm going to omit saying all the doctors' names and all the studies and just get right to the point. But know that it is backed by people who've done real investigation into these different healing modalities. Okay, so arthritis. Arthritis is actually a number of different diseases affecting the joints. The most common form is osteoarthritis, which affects almost 16 million Americans, most of them over the age of 45. Osteoarthritis usually strikes weight-bearing joints such as your ankles, knees, and hips, but it can also affect the fingers, wrists, elbows, spine, and neck. As the Mayans would say, the 13 points in the body. So ankle joints, knee joints, hip joints, elbow joints, wrist joints, shoulder joints, and the neck. The pain is caused by the gradual breakdown of cartilage, the dense, spongy material that cushions our joints. Another common form of the disease is rheumatoid arthritis, which affects about 2 million Americans. Rheumatoid arthritis may strike in a person's 20s, attacking the lining of the joints and causing pain and severe inflammation. Okay, so it says, here are some things that if you're experiencing these type of symptoms, definitely go get it checked out by whoever you trust most, whichever medical professional you trust most, while also incorporating maybe some of these suggestions. So if your joints are stiff in the morning, but they loosen up later in the day, but don't loosen up later in the day, might want to go see somebody. If your stiffness is lasting more than 6 weeks, might want to see somebody. You have severe joint pain that doesn't respond to heat, ice packs, or aspirin. Your joints are hot, red, swollen, or very painful. That could mean infection. You experience stiffness after an injury to the joint. So like you really whacked your knee on something and now it's super stiff and it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. Your joints remain swollen even after you take aspirin or ibuprofen. You have chills or fever, as well as swollen joints. Again, that could also indicate inflammation or infection. You have already been diagnosed with arthritis, but now you notice a new or different type of swelling in your joints. So definitely go get that checked out. Okay. Before we dive into our different modalities for healing arthritis, I thought I would get my little charcoal, light it up, and I have some incense to put in here just to kind of create a healing environment, because I'm going to be talking about different healing types. And I know that whatever age everybody is in the live chat, there are different like little aches and pains that we may have, or some people might have the beginnings of arthritis, or late stages arthritis, rheumatoid or osteo. So I just kind of want to create this like healing environment for us. Okay, so I have my candle going because I'm going to use that to light our charcoal actually. So here we go. And so remember that if you're experiencing arthritis, some sort of inflammation, definitely go inwards spiritually as well. or go into prayer and try to see what the message is. Why am I being shown this? Why am I feeling this? What imbalance is there in my body? Why do I have this imbalance? How could I work to rebalance this? Help me to see. And that's something that I heard in church today, where they said a lot of people will pray, like, help me with this, help me with this. And oftentimes, God is helping us with things, but sometimes we can't see the guidance, we can't see the help. So they suggested that maybe a different type of prayer could be, help me to see the message, help me to see how I can heal myself, help me to see these things, or the healing that you've put on my path. Okay, so I have a little bit of incense here. I'm gonna place this little guy right here. And here we go, you guys. Oh, okay, wonderful. Okay, so now let's take a look at the different modalities for healing arthritis. Alrighty, let me just refresh this browser here. Okay. All right. So first things first, let's talk about acupressure and have a little sip of tea. I'm running out of tea, man. Acupressure. All right. So acupressure, very first one on the list here, says to soothe this discomfort in the neck and lessen general irritability. We could place our thumbs in a certain position on our neck. So I'm going to turn around so you guys can kind of see where that is. Can you guys see? Okay, yeah. So here you have the neck. And if you're doing this on another person, I guess you can kind of do it on yourself too. But you're going to take your thumbs here and you're going to find the base of your skull. So the base of my cranium is right here. And you want to go down about 2 inches. So it's going to be right around here. So it's kind of the middle of my neck. So you see the little knob that we have, like the big piece of bone that we have that kind of indicates that we're near the neck. So this would be like the base of the neck. Up here is kind of the top. We're going to go somewhere in the middle. And basically, you just want to press and hold. Okay, you can move up a little to maybe even underneath the cranium to where you find those 2 almost thumb-shaped pockets right under here. And you're going to press and hold. Okay. You can do this for just a little bit, just a few seconds. So just press and hold for a few seconds. Go down, press and hold a few seconds. Come up, press and hold a few seconds. And down again. Okay, you can do this as many times as you wish throughout the day. Whenever you're feeling like stiff, especially in the neck area, starting to feel a little achy, it'll help to lessen the severity of those symptoms. Okay, so let's move on to our next type of healing for arthritis, and that would be aromatherapy. Sorry, I'm just like trying to make sure I get all the cinnamon and all the foam from my tea. Mm, mm. Okay. Mm, so freaking good. Okay. So when it comes to aromatherapy, maybe that's more your bag. And the reason I'm going through all these different types of healing, because some people might be drawn to one type or the other, and there's a lot of different types for healing arthritis. So it's not just a like a one trick pony. Like you don't have to just do it this way, and that's the only way. There's a lot of different ways. So you might want to incorporate one or two or all of the suggestions that I offer here today. So for aromatherapy, doctors suggest, different naturopathy doctors suggest utilizing 6 drops each of rosemary and chamomile essential oil added to 4 ounces of a carrier oil. And that carrier oil could be almond oil, avocado oil, soybean, sesame. Some people like to stay away from the seed oil, so you do you, boo. um, and on top of that, you could also use those 2 essential oils, the chamomile and the rosemary, and put them in a warm bath. So you could put 10 drops each of those essential oils into a nice bath. So you can even make a bubble bath for yourself if you wish, but soak for at least 10 minutes. But if you're going to go through all the trouble of running a bath, you're probably going to be soaking for longer than 10 minutes. So at least 10 minutes, don't be so quick to jump out, just chill, read a book, you know? So I have here my rosemary essential oil, but I actually don't have any chamomile essential oil. So, and chamomile is what I've been wanting to get. So next time I get essential oils, I'll make sure to pick up some chamomile. But it smells really good. And what's nice is a lot of these essential oils have little kind of built droppers built into them, so that they don't just come dumping out, but you can count them out 1, 2, 3, 4. And I actually have a carrier oil here. I have Japanese toasted sesame seed oil or sesame oil. And I usually use this when I'm making Japanese beef curry, because I think it really helps to enhance the already delicious flavor. But anytime I'm doing any sort of Asian cooking, I'll use sesame oil. But it also makes a really good carrier oil. But if you didn't want to do any of the seeds or anything like that, then maybe avocado. I guess you could use olive, but sometimes olive oil has like an intense flavor to it sometimes, and even scent, and like overpowers the essential oils sometimes. Lila says, I'm sure incense would work for the same purpose instead of aromatherapy. Um, you can do incense as well. Just know that the essential oils are just concentrated versions of the plant. So just like we have mullein, our little exorcism herb over here, that's like, okay, we can get some extract from that. I can make a tea from that, but that would be much more diluted form of turning it into a tincture, because, it's extracted using oil. But the even more concentrated version of mullein, sorry, I keep wanting to say mullein, is the essential oil, because you would put it into a distiller and separate the essential oil from the hydrosol. But also, yes, you could also use the incense as well. I think that, definitely try it. Try everything, you guys. Try everything. So you might find, I don't need to use the essential oil. The incense worked A-okay for me. So you do you, boo. Okay. Alrighty. I think that's it for aromatherapy. You could try different types of scents, put into the carrier oils, and massaged onto your joints. I also wanted to mention that it's not just burned in the home, but massage it onto your joints. So that's why you're putting it into a carrier oil, because essential oil directly on the skin sometimes burns some people. So that's why you want to kind of, again, have that barrier with that carrier oil. But let's say I had arthritis here. Then I would take that little concoction that I just made with 4 ounces of carrier oil, 4 drops each of that rosemary and chamomile, and I would just massage it directly on to my joints for a little bit of relief. I'm not going to say it's going to cure it all, but it'll definitely give a little bit of relief. Okay. Let's see, Lilith says, basically, you need a fireplace full of chamomile and rosemary. A pyromaniac alert. Hell yeah. Like, burn it all. Dude, that'd be so awesome. Do you know how good it would smell in here? Anyway, and fire. So, anywho. All right, let's move on to our next form of working with healing arthritis, different types of arthritis, and that is the Ayurvedic form of it. So, according to Ayurveda, by rubbing warmed sesame oil, bam, got your warm sesame. Well, this one isn't warm. You could warm it up though. So you can warm it up on the stove. Or if you wanted to nuke it and get a little bit of radioactivity in there, just throw it in the microwave. But basically, you warm up some sesame oil and you're going to rub it onto the affected areas at least once or twice a day. So again, oops. Oh, there we go. I was like losing my bookmarks here. So again, if my arthritis is here, I'm going to take that sesame oil. Maybe I'll do that right now. How about that? Just a little dab will do ya. No need to take a bath in the oil, you know? Okay, so I rubbed it between my fingers. I'm going to rub it onto my knuckles here. So twice a day, you're just going to do that. We'll rub, get your rub on. And then afterwards, take a hot shower about 20 to 60 minutes afterwards. So about 20 minutes to an hour after you've rubbed this oil on. So just that way it gives it time for your body heat to continue like warming it, even though you already pre-warmed it, and let it just soak into the skin. Let it get past that skin barrier. There's a word, and for some reason it's escaped my brain, but basically that word means seeping into the skin, you know, going past the dermal layer and going in to help whatever is inflamed, whatever affects you. Okay, so using the sesame oil for that, I would wait about 20 minutes, an hour, go take myself a really hot shower, as hot as you can stand, and just like, a lot of it is for the steam and bringing blood to the surface. You might think, well, I don't want blood to the surface because I'm already inflamed in my knuckles. Well, bringing blood to the surface actually helps the body to heal itself. There are times where, yes, we want to decrease some of the inflammation, so we put ice, but at another point, we would also put heat. So when I was a coach and whenever my athletes were injured, I would have them do rotations of heat and ice. So they would do heat for the initial injury to bring down the swelling. But once the swelling was down, they would do like a little bit of heat here and there to just bring the blood to the surface so the body can start the healing process. So that is the reason for the heated shower. Okay, other things in Ayurvedic that you could use is while you're doing that, you could also add certain spicy spices and spicy foods into your diet. Because again, even though it might be hot on the tongue and hot going down into the belly, and maybe the ring of fire when it exits, it doesn't create inflammation in the body. Spicy spices and hot foods, not temperature hot, but like flavor hot, actually brings down the inflammation in the body, which is why people in Thailand known for their really spicy foods, people in Mexico known for their spiciness, you know, people in India known for some really spicy things, in different parts of the world known for their spices. They're really good at bringing down inflammation in their body. So oftentimes when it comes to like checking the world population for like arthritis and other inflammatory diseases, those certain countries actually have lower incidences of them because of just what they eat naturally, which is pretty cool. But anyway, if you wanted to incorporate some spices into your diet that might help to bring down some of that inflammation, you might want to go with cayenne. Put a little cayenne on it. Maybe not in the wound, but put a little cayenne in your food. Also, ginger. Ginger, I think, is just like the all around freaking awesome sauce because ginger like soothes an upset tummy. It's really good for after eating. It's really good for bringing down inflammation. It's really good for headaches and things like that. So ginger is like my hello. Um, Also, ground cinnamon. And ground cinnamon is actually what I have in my tea right now. That very simple tea that I made this morning. Anti-inflammation, baby. Okay. There's also something that I've never tried, but I'll just kind of put it out there in case you guys have heard it, and it's under the Ayurveda healing, and that is talking about Yogaraj Guglu. So it says taking a quarter teaspoon of Yogaraj Guglu 3 times daily with a little warm water. Says it's really good at helping to reduce inflammation and to help those who are suffering from arthritis. You could also add a tablespoon of castor oil, which I have my castor oil in here. This was actually a gift from one of my neighbors. Like, she makes her own castor oil somehow. She's like a magician over there. But anyway, so I have some castor oil. You put a teaspoon of that into some ginger tea. And you could just take it that way if you didn't want to take the spicy foods or you didn't want to try the Yogalaj Guglu. You could try that as well. Okay. Let's see. Costalini says, there's the synchronicity. I'm eating Indian right now. Very good. Very good. What are you eating? Like what kind? Like, tell me the foods, the names of the foods. Let's see. Delisha says, we use sesame oil a lot in India as it's mentioned in our Ayurveda science originated from India only. When I get a sprain in my leg or ankle, I twist, I use sesame oil. It really works. So there you go. You even have Delisha backing up the science there. So it definitely works for her too. And Delisha said, warm sesame oil before applying. Yes, that was something that was emphasized in the book too, was to warm it up first. Costalini says, been to the bathroom 6 times today, but the inflammation is low. Hey, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. Delisha says, what dish were you eating? And he said, it's kind of a mix of tikka masala, coconut curry, tandoori kebabs, and korma and goat curry. Woo! Tikka masala is delicious. That, yes, I've had that. That is so good. Coconut curry, I've also had. Really good. And I've had some tandoori kebab. So I think the korma I haven't had, and I haven't had goat curry, but I've had those other 3 and they're really, really good. So, jelly. He says, it's from this haunted Indian restaurant in Austin called Clay Pit. A few people were murdered in their basement before it was an Indian restaurant. Oh, so you get ghosts and delicious food. I mean, that's my kind of place. Okay. Let's move on to our next form of therapy healing, and that is flower therapy or flower essence therapy. Some people just call it flower essence or essence therapy or flower therapy, so flower essences. Basically, Bach. Bach was the I forget his first name, but he was like the guy that was experimenting with different flowers, flower essences. Okay, so let me just have a little bit more of my tea. Okay, so when it came to flower essences or flower therapy, what he thought the reason was that we had certain ailments in our body. Like for me, I would say we have certain ailments because we have an energetic imbalance, or maybe we're holding on to something from our past, or a trigger or a trauma or something, and it's just manifesting in our body somewhere. Well, Bach believed that we're holding on to certain emotions, in our body. And so he thought that people who suffered from arthritis were holding on to hidden and unexpressed anger, that, maybe we might unknowingly be angry about something that happened in the past, something that happened as a child, something that happened when we were a baby and we really just don't remember the event, but somehow we internalize that anger, or maybe we're internalizing the anger of our father or mother or society at large, and it's just like stuck in our body. And so now it's created this like fire, this inflammation in our body. So he thought that if you worked with the flower essences, which for him he would say to take 2 to 4 drops of flower essence. And it's very particular. When you go online, you would have to look up, it's not essential oils, it's flower essence. You would have to look up Bach flower essence, online, and try to find a reputable dealer. And you would take 2 to 4 drops, put them on your tongue, and then that's it. And you do that about 4 times a day until you start to feel relief, and then you can stop. So you don't have to do it indefinitely, for the rest of your life. But just 2 to 4 drops on the tongue, directly on the tongue, not sublingual, so not under the tongue, but directly on the tongue. Just, you can dilute it in water if you wanted to as well. But he was just like the straight, just 2 to 4 drops on the tongue, 4 times a day, and you'd be golden pony boy. So, the two flower essences in combination that he thought worked really well for arthritis was holly and vine. So putting those two together, holly and vine, while also perhaps, however it is that you work on your emotional healing, trying to figure out where that unexpressed or repressed anger is coming from. So just kind of looking inwards. Let's see here. Delicious says, I'm not sure if they are even putting that much spice in it. As many Indians say that outside India, the Indian dishes are not made of that much spices that in India are made. Because I've heard many people can't tolerate it or something, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's interesting. It's like when you grow up with certain spices, like for me, I grew up with the spices of Mexico. So I'm used to that kind of spicy food. But when I go out and have Thai food, dude, that food kicks my butt, but it's so good. But I've had a couple of Thai friends who are like, it wasn't that spicy to them. They're just like, it's just like average spice, or like, you're just like a wuss, But when they tried Mexican spices, things that I thought weren't spicy at all, dude, they were claiming the ring of fire. I was like, are you serious? Like Tapatio is creating the ring of fire on you? And you guys are the ones with the Scovilles, like, that are off the charts with your peppers. Like, but yeah, I guess it's just kind of how you grew up, and what your palate grew up with. But I've even heard there are some cultures, actually it was my friends from Indonesia, they couldn't take ketchup here in America. Like for me, ketchup, there's no spice in ketchup. I'm like, there's like vinegar, there's tomatoes, and maybe some water in there, and that's basically how you make ketchup. So I'm like, where's the spice? But they would eat it, and they would like put it on their burger, and they're like, oh, like I need water. I was like, are you? What is ketchup? So I guess it just all depends, where we're from and what we're used to. Let's see. Costalini says they have to whitewash the dishes for us for sure. And he says just the spices we have available will be different. Way cheaper to buy locally than to import all the time. Yeah, totally true. And Costalini says, oh, American ketchup is disgusting. Yeah, well, I guess it depends, because there's the ketchup with the 57 chemicals in it, or some people get like just natural ketchup, or they make their own ketchup, which again is just water, vinegar, and tomatoes. Other people, like some store-bought brands, like you look at it, it should really only be those 3 ingredients, but there's all these preservatives, there's so much sugar and everything in there to like get us to want more and to want to buy more. So there's freaking sugar and everything. But yeah. He says it's really dark red and it gives my heart palpitations. Yeah, I'd probably stay away from maybe that one then. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on to homeopathy. Okay. Homeopathy healing for arthritis. Again, a little sip. I'm running out of little sips. I'm trying to like nurse it because I don't want to be out of tea. Mm, that was the last little sip. Oh well. That's so good. Costolini says, whenever I visit Canada, I stick a bunch of ketchup in my suitcase. And delicious ketchup, hearing it for the first time, I mean, what are they having with the fast foods, then like burgers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so like technically an American burger would be burger patty, ketchup, tomatoes, onion, lettuce. I guess you could put other stuff on there. There's a bun, you know, that you put it in between. And mustard, well, I don't put mustard on my burger. Okay, if you're having a cheeseburger, you could put some cheese on there. If you're gonna have a Mexican burger, you could put some spicy on there. I just, what? Oh, pickles. Riley doesn't like pickles. I do. Throw all the pickles on my burger. Okay, homeopathy. Okay, let's get to it. So, again, like I said, I'm not mentioning all the doctors that have been like, hey, try this, try this. I'm just like trying to get to the nitty gritty of what they said works. But according to this one doctor, Russ toxicodendron, that's quite the mouthful. It's 2 words. It's Russ toxicodendron. It's a type of I want to say like medicine or prescription, not prescription. It's over the counter, but it's a type of medicine. It says is really good at helping relieve painful joints, accompanied by stiffness in the neck and then the small of the back. That usually gets worse in cold weather and usually is better on warm days or dry days, or especially after exercise. So if you have that type of arthritis, where just like in the cold, it's like my knees, oh my gosh, but in the summertime, you're a-okay, or after you've like warmed up from exercise, you know, then Russ toxicodendron, something you want to take. This particular doctor suggests taking 30 cc's or a 30 cc dose once a day, or a 12 cc dose twice a day. So this is not like injectable when they're saying cc's. This is like you're ingesting it in some water. So, so I'm not saying like to shoot up or anything. This is definitely, it's taken in the water, but it's just done measurements through cc's. Bryonia, they said, is also another really good one to help you if you have stiff and painful joints that are hot and swollen as well. And they might feel worse when you have motion. So it's like the more you walk or the more you try to go up the stairs, the more your joints are hurting. So it's the warmer they get, the worse they hurt. So Bryonia is one that you might want to try utilizing. You could also try a 30 cc dose of Kimikafuga. That is an unusual name. Kimikafuga. Kimikafuga is a good remedy if you have uneasy, restless feeling and achy muscles that are worse when it's cold and in the morning. So just cold outside, or if it's in the morning, or you just like, you know, you got that restless leg syndrome, or, you know, your muscles are really aching, then, you know, muscles around the joints are really aching. So yeah, 30 cc dose of Kimikafuga. So that's something that you could try as well. For me personally, although I like utilizing the essential oils, I like utilizing the Ayurvedic methods so far that we've mentioned, and the aromatherapy, and the acupressure as well. I would say ones that I have yet to give it the old college try. Like I've tried it once or twice, but like not enough to really see results. Like I didn't really see it through to give it a chance. I think is the flower essence and the homeopathy of like taking in, you know, certain medicines, you know, put into the water. I think I like things that are a little bit more simplistic and down to more its plant source, but that's just me. Okay. Let's see. Delisha said, Ayurveda is better than homeopathy. Trust me, I have used both for a long period of time. I mean, homeopathy is limited and Ayurveda is an ocean. Well, there you go. So this is why, like, during the live chat, just like, you know, if you guys have tried any of these, like, definitely let me know. Like, share. This is how we we learn more and we expand. Okay. Another method that you could utilize for healing arthritis is hydrotherapy. Oh, yes. All my little water babies out there. um, those that love to play in the rivers and the lakes and the oceans and just can't get enough water each day. Hydrotherapy might be, up your alley, and especially those of you that are like, Atlantis, Syria. um, okay. Okay, so osteoarthritis patients usually get better results with moist, warm treatments, such as moist heat packs rather than dry applications like an electric heating pad. Now I have here something that belongs to Riley's sister, and it's one of those like old school, like heat, what do you call them? I forget the name of them. The what? Hot water bottle. There we go. I was like, I don't know why whatever, it fell out of my brain. Anyway, I had warm water in here. It felt really nice earlier, so that's why it's all squishy right now. But this is a type of hydrotherapy. It's got the liquid. I don't have, actually, another thing that I have that I use but wouldn't really be good for osteoarthritis is I have this stuffed animal that I call Lavi, and he's a purple hippo that's filled with lavender, and I heat that up in the microwave, but that would be a dry heating method, which really wouldn't benefit those with osteoarthritis. But however, the water and the moistness that you would feel from this hot water bottle would be really good. So again, let's say my knuckles hurt. I had, let's say, osteoarthritis in my knuckles. I would just kind of place it like that and it would feel really good. So you would want to do that, this like warm compress for 10 to 20 minutes every 4 hours to help relieve the stiffness and the dull penetrating pain. So it's just until you like get your body nice and loosened up for whatever activities and shenanigans you might find yourself in. Wading, swimming, or exercising in a pool that's heated to above 85 degrees would also be effective. So maybe you want to go, everybody in the hot tub, or I don't know, maybe you live in the Phoenix Valley of Arizona and it's like freaking 200 degrees in the summer. And so therefore you don't need to heat your pool. The sun has heated your pool. You could just, take a little dive in there and go for a little swim. Up here, you would probably have to spend a lot of electricity trying to heat that water because it gets pretty cold up here. But okay, if you have sharper, more intense pain, a cold, wet compress or an ice pack wrapped in a plastic bag and placed over a towel on the skin might be better for you. So the dull, throbbing pain, warm hot water bottle or some sort of like wet pack. Stabbing pain? What? Lavi! Hey, you guys, that's my Lavi. That's my hippo. I named him Lavi. So, and he smells really good. And when I'm having, you what? Yeah, I throw him in the microwave for like 2.5 minutes and he's piping hot. You definitely don't want to place him directly on your skin. So I just like put him over my clothes and put him on my tummy when I'm having my moon cycle, and it just feels so nice. Okay, but he wouldn't be very good for sharp, intense pain though. With that, you want an ice pack for. And the reason you would want to wrap that ice pack in a towel or place it in a plastic bag and then wrap it in a towel is because you don't want to freeze or burn your skin. Okay, that's not good for your skin. So, even my athletes, they're like, why can't we just put the ice directly on our skin? And these are like 16-year-old kids. I'm like, because I want you to have skin after this injury. But anyway, you would do that for 10 to 20 minutes, keep it on the affected area, like your knees, your hip, wherever it hurts, wherever you're feeling that sharp, intense pain. You would put it there for about 10 to 20 minutes every 4 hours. And never leave the ice pack there for more than 20 minutes. Because again, we don't want to cause cell damage in your skin. So we're trying to heal one thing. We're not trying to create another problem. If the pain lessens using cold treatments for a day or two, then you can switch to a hot compress. And that's the same thing that I would do with my athletes, and they're not really suffering from arthritis pain, but they would have like muscle pains and things like that. So if they start to feel better after they bring down the inflammation with the cold, the ice packs that I would give them and stuff, then they can go to heating pads. Okay, but cold and wet for sharp pain, hot and wet for dull throbbing pain. But again, this is all best for osteoarthritis. Okay, so let me put that to the side. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, like for the aromatherapy. I mean, this is probably not going to be really good for aromatherapy, but this was the lavender water that we made last week during the live chat. I've been spraying my pillow and my face, and it's just so nice. I feel so hydrated. Probably not great for arthritis, but really good for hydration. Anyway, I thought I would just throw that in there. Let's see. Lila says, purple hippo. Yeah, he's my friend. He's my friend. Okay, let's go to another form of arthritis healing, and that is imagery. It's literally what we do at the end of every single live chat, where either I'm playing music or I'm verbally walking you guys through the guided meditation. But it's a form of mental imagery, and those of you that aren't like, let's say your strong point isn't visualizing things, but you can quote unquote visualize in your mind by bringing in different types of feelings. So like I feel into the image. Basically I create this environment in my mind through how I think it feels or sounds or smells. So utilize your other senses when doing quote unquote imagery, type meditation. But this is a type of meditation that you don't have to sit for like an hour in lotus pose in order to help your arthritis, but it goes a little something like this. Picture your joint pain. Give it a size, a shape, and a color. So just like in the picture that you guys see right now, the size is about palm size. The color is red, and the shape is kind of oblong. So maybe when I go inside my mind, how I see my pain looks a lot like that image right there. So in your mind's eye, reach out and touch it after you've kind of decided what it looks like, what it's shaped like, what color it is. Reach out and touch the arthritis. Is it rough or is it smooth when you touch it? Now, transform that object into a liquid and let it flow down your leg and out the bottom of your foot. So just imagining it running down, just like, I was going to say like you peed yourself, but it's a good kind of pee. We're peeing out that that arthritis, and let it come out the bottom of your foot. Watch it trickling out of the room and out of your house and into the nearest creek or river or ocean. And then it floats out to that big, big blue ocean until it disappears into the crashing waves. Let the energy of the sea carry it away. It says, try this for about 10 to 20 minutes twice a day and see if it helps to alleviate some of the pain that you're feeling. So again, I'm trying to picture what it looks like in my mind. I reach out and touch it. I decide what it feels like. And then now I'm going to turn what I saw into that liquid. That liquid is flowing out of me, down my leg, out my foot. It's like crawling its way, floating out of my house, just flowing out down into, well, we have a creek nearby, so it'd be flowing into that creek. The creek's going to take it all down to the ocean. The ocean waves are going to transmute that stuff. So do that for about 10 to 20 minutes twice a day. Lola says, I want to apologize to Purple Hippo for making fun of him long before I knew him. Hey! Apologize to Labby. There he is. And he smells so good. There's my Labby. Oh, She says, we respect the purple hippo from now on. He's like, you will respect my authority. My anti-inflammatory authority. Yeah. But the first time that Riley's sister saw him in the microwave, she's like, why are you cooking the stuffed animal? Like, oh, it's because he's a heating pack. He's a stuffed animal, but he's also a heating pack. But anyway, there's Labby. Okie dokie. Well then, let's move on to the next type of arthritic healing. So hopefully, so far as we're going down this list, you're finding something that maybe piques your interest, or maybe you yourself don't suffer from arthritis, but you know people in your family who do, or friends who do. So you might want to pass this information off. So if you're like, wow, you know, I might not be into all the other stuff, but like I'm really into the Ayurveda, or I'm really into the hydrotherapy. So I'm going to share that with, you know, some friends and family. So that's why I'm trying to give you guys like all these different types of options, just to show you there's no one way to healing. There's all these different, you know, ways. There's, you know, we have such a rich cultures from around this world, you know, and all these different forms of healing that when we put them all together, there's going to be something, you know, within there that is going to help along with the energetic healing, along with the spiritual healing. Lola's like, I saw we. It's okay. Okay, so Lavi, you can hang out with us there. Okay, let's go on to some juice therapy. Anybody juicing here? Anybody going to go on a juice cleanse? So Riley and I were discussing not really going on a cleanse, but I guess it's a type of cleanse. It's kind of type of detoxing. We were going to go on a little fast, but we're going to try to figure out like when we might want to go on this fast. Maybe, you know, so kind of like a little thing goes along with juice therapy, I suppose. Anyway, they say that black cherry juice is really good for bringing down the inflammation in arthritis. Number one, it's the dark color of cherries. Usually berries that have that dark color, like cherries, blackberries, certain types of grapes, they have resveratrol and certain other chemical compounds that actually help to reduce inflammation, which is why people used to say, well, if you have a glass of wine a day, that it's really good for your heart, really good for reducing the inflammation. It's not the alcohol that's good for you, but it's actually the resveratrol that's in the grapes that's good for you. So you might as well just eat the grapes, you know? But some of us like to be like, well, I need my wine, you know? I like my wine, that I'm saying. But anyway, so it's the dark red coloring of different fruits, the skin. It's what's in the skin, really. It's not in the water content of the cherry or of the blackberry or the plum. You know, it's in plums too. But it's that dark red coloring that's actually really good for anti-inflammation in your body. It's got really good stuff. So there are some folks out there of the medical persuasion that say 2 glasses of this black cherry juice a day helps keep the doctor away. They said each glass usually contains 4 ounces of the juice diluted with 4 ounces of water. And so you would have that twice a day, you know. And that's really good for people to have osteoarthritis. If you had rheumatoid arthritis, there are certain foods that you could eat, you know, I mean, you could drink black cherry juice. It tastes good, actually. So, I mean, you could drink it, but something that would be more beneficial for rheumatoid arthritis would be anything with beta carotene. That is usually found in parsley, in broccoli, and in spinach. They would want to take in copper. Copper is usually found in carrots, apples, ginger, in the state of Arizona. A glass or 2 of pineapple juice is the only fruit, I guess, known to have the enzyme bromelain. And bromelain is a strong anti-inflammatory. So that's like the only fruit that has it, the only food really that has it. It's also really good for digestion. So you know, all that rich food that they eat in Hawaii, good thing that they're eating all those pineapples because it's helping with the digestion there and hopefully helping with some of the inflammation. If people are suffering from osteo or rheumatoid arthritis, you might want to avoid certain foods as they actually have the opposite effect. They're actually going to give you more inflammation and therefore more pain. So those people might want to avoid citrus fruits. I know, sad, huh? Like lemons and oranges and grapefruits. It's just that the acidity in them, it has that opposite effect. And there's certain vegetables in the nightshade family, like tomatoes and eggplant and things like that, that people just aren't cool with. Potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant. Eggplant, by the way, if you can have eggplant and you're not affected by like osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, it has that really deep purple color. So it's really good for your heart. It's really good for your arteries and things like that. It says citrus seems to promote swelling, and nightshades contain psyllium alkaloids, which cause problems for some people. So if it doesn't cause problems for you, then you keep doing you, but this is just like a general guideline. Okay. Lilith says, I have a copper matka, like an Ayurvedic water vessel. Ooh, keeps water cool in the summer. That sounds really cool. I'll have to look it up, look a picture up, because that sounds neat. I like that. Okay, well, then let's move on to another type of arthritic healing, and that is massage. And let me just check to see how our little incense charcoal is doing. Maybe I could add, ooh, it's still burning. So maybe I can add some more incense. Okay. Keep our little healing environment going. Yes. Get it. Get it. Okay, I don't want to light my phone on fire. Okay. You get to hang out here like so. Okay. All right. Massage. All right. Take a little bit of vegetable oil or whatever oil and put it onto your fingertips and work slowly around the affected joint, making small, gentle circles with your fingertips. Make sure that you're not massaging right on the joint. You want to be massaging above or below the joint. So you want to just like promote that healing. You want to push blood flow into that area. For rheumatoid arthritis, you might want to try the effleurage stroke. I'll show you what that looks like. There's an actual picture. And you want to do that for 5 to 10 minutes a day. So again, let's say my knuckles hurt really bad. I probably wouldn't like rub right on the knuckle. Maybe I'll take some of that sesame oil that Delisha says actually works really well, warmed sesame oil. And I'm just gonna rub like right below it and right above it. Or maybe I'll just like split my fingers and just give it a nice little rub down for about 5 to 10 minutes. But if you have rheumatoid arthritis, there is a picture here. Let's see if I can find that. There it is. All right. I could probably take this little bookmark out now. All right. So you see the guy with the leg, he's rubbing his leg there on the left-hand side. It's called the effleurage method. And basically, you are massaging towards your heart. So let's say my arthritis is in my hand here. Instead of pushing away from my heart, I want to push towards my heart. So you would basically not take your fingertips, but you would take the palm of your hand. So again, this is the effleurage technique. So take the palm of my hand and I'm going to rub towards my heart. Maybe my elbows hurt. So I'm going to rub up towards the heart. So everything's always towards the heart. If it's down on the leg, we're going to rub towards the heart. Okay, with the palms. You guys like my socks. But yeah, you're going to rub towards the heart. Okie dokie. Delisha says, that's great, Lilith. Good for health. We use it here. I have my own copper bottle as well. Ooh, clay matka for keeping water cool in summers and copper matka for good health. As refrigerated or man-made cool water is not good for our body. So clay matka is a great alternative. Oh, wow. Excellent. Good to know. I love all this information that you guys are sharing. So I'm kind of out of tea, but I still got some floof left. So I'm trying to get the floof. Come on, floof. Don't be stubborn. You know you want to get drunk. You want to get dranked. Okay. I think Vader is gonna vomit. Hold on. Vader, come on. Come on.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Oh, sorry, guys. Vader has been, I don't know, his tummy's been a little upset, I guess, but he's okay now. He's outside. He can go be one with nature. Go calm his tummy. Okay. Let's go into some reflexology. This one's kind of long because there's different reflex points on the hand that are connected to certain organs, which actually help with arthritis. So even if my arthritis is like in my hands, I still want to work with, let's say, the solar plexus or the gallbladder, something like that, my thyroid, because they're all going to promote healing of the arthritis in my body. So, okay. This one is going to require me showing you lots of stuff, so stay tuned. Okay, let me get to okay, there we go. All right. It says, although arthritis affects specific joints, working reflexology points will be beneficial for the certain organs that we're working, so like I just said. So there's one called the golf ball technique, and that's really good for the brain, liver, and kidney points. Using that golf ball technique. So I actually have a little golf ball here, and I'm going to show you that technique because working the brain, the liver, and the kidney and helping to assuage them of anything they might be holding on to, then you might lessen the arthritis in your body. Okay, so technique number 1. I have my handy dandy little golf ball. Okay, so I'm gonna take it in my hand just like this. Okay, I'm just holding it between my index finger is curled around it, and so is my thumb is curled around it here. And what we're gonna do is first, I'm gonna take the thumb of my left hand, and hold on, let me see, just make sure I know how long to do it for. Okay, so I'm just gonna roll it over the top of my thumb. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same for my pointer finger, my middle finger. I'm just rolling right on top. Okay, and then I would switch hands, do it to the other hand. Okay, the other one is I'm going to now put the golf ball in my palm, kind of like this, not in the middle of my palm, but kind of up here, so I can hold it like that. It's like you're kind of semi-palming it. And I'm going to massage my nail beds. So just up and down of each finger, massaging the nail beds. Just like that. Okay, and then you would switch hands. All right, the next one is we're going to massage from the beginning of the metatarsals, which are like your bigger bones right here. We're going to move upwards up the finger. So just not all the way up the finger, but just kind of like right here. But we're going to, again, palm it. And I'm going to rub right where that metatarsal is, at the base of each of my fingers. Technically, you should have started with your thumb. My bad. Anyway, thumb, pointer finger. You always want to go in that order. Thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Okay. Next, we're going to massage inside the thumb. So I'm going to grab my finger just like this And I'm going to roll the inside of my thumb. Just, Okay, and then you want to do the other thumb. All right, next we want to actually roll out the palm of our hand. We're going to do this on each hand. So again, I'm going to have I'm actually going to palm my golf ball in the middle of my palm with this palm, and I'm going to roll it. I'm going to roll out. Maybe bring your fingers in. So just kind of rolling it out all around the palm, up and down, up and down. And then you want to switch hands and go to the other side. Okay, next we want to get the base of our palm down here. So we're actually going to put our palms together like this. And we're going to roll it up and down. Up and down, up and down. Okay, and then you can do that as many times as a day as you wish, but at least a couple of times a day. Doing all those different techniques with your little golf ball. Okay, now let's get to some pressure points also on the hands. So let me get to that for you guys. There we go. I have to go the other direction. Other way, other way. Okay, so the glands that are, or the parts of the body, the internal organs, that if you promote healing in those areas will help to promote arthritic healing, so decreasing the arthritis in the body. And that is aiding the adrenal gland, the pancreas, the pituitary gland, your ovary or testicles, your uterus or your prostate, the solar plexus, and the thyroid. So you send healing to those areas, they will send healing to the areas that you have arthritis. So, or at least they will aid in those areas. There's something called the fingertip method. I'm going to show you guys that in a second. But the only one that doesn't utilize the fingertip method is the pancreas. It likes the thumb method. And that's just because how it's placed on the hand. So it's different pressure points on your hand. And I remember my friend, Dr. Wang, down in San Diego, she was my acupuncturist, but she was also a really good friend of mine. And I remember she was telling me about the different acupuncture points, like on the hand, like the pinky was actually connected to the heart. And she says back in Victorian era, they actually erroneously thought that the ring finger was connected to the heart, hence why people wear a wedding band on their ring finger, of the left hand. But on the left hand, it's actually the pinky that's connected to our heart, which I thought was fascinating. But all these different things, it's like once you send like energy to, or at least healing or blood flow to these like network of nerves, it would just like immediately just help these different parts of the body. And now modern Western science is finally catching up to what people have known for so very long. Okay, so first let's take a look at the adrenal gland. All right. I'm going to use the help of my water bottle here. All right, the adrenal gland is right here. So what the finger crawling technique is you see I got a thumb here. I got my little finger here. Just pretend that you're like using the very tip of your finger to like, I don't know, crawl across that area. So I'm just crawling across this area here. And you just want to do that for, a few seconds. Okay, and then you want to do it to the other hand. All right, so that's going to help your adrenals out. Yay! All right, next, we want to help out our pancreas. And this is the one that requires the thumb method, and that's just because of where it's placed. So the pancreas is right here. Okay, so we actually want to use our thumb. We're going to do that same like pulling method, but with our thumb. It'd be better if somebody else was doing this for me, but that's cool. Okay, so again, just coming outwards. It's this whole, it's like a line right here. So really digging in with the thumb. Ooh, I feel that actually. So you do it to the other hand too. So don't forget to do it a few seconds in this hand and then a few seconds with the other hand. Okay, so that helps promote healing to the pancreas. Now we want to send some healing to our pituitary gland. Hello, pituitary. All right, so for that, we just want the finger method, and that's right here at the tip of the thumb here. So we just go like this. Okay, and then you do that to the other finger. All right, next, we want to send some healing. For me, it would be to my ovaries. For you gentlemen out there, it would be to your testicles. But that, let's see, right here. So again, the little finger method right here. So that's, for me, sending all kinds of love to my little ovary girl, my little girls down there. Okay, and then again, don't forget to do it to your other hand. Then we want to send some healing. For me, it would be my uterus. For you gentlemen, it would be your prostate. That is right down here, right at the base of the palm, right in this bony area right here. I'm just gonna do a little finger method. This little bony area. It's getting me right in the cow head. If you guys ever watched The Wonder Years, you'll remember the cow head was the shape of the girl's uterus. When they were learning it in sex ed, they all thought it was a cow head. Anyway, just random side note. Okay, next we want to go into the solar plexus, which is, hold on, that's elsewhere. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so solar plexus actually moves like an arc up and then down. So I'm going to actually do my little walking with my finger. And I'm going to walk in this arc up and down, going through that arc once again, kind of passing a couple of other areas, up and down. And then you want to do that to your other hand as well. Lastly, we want to get to our thyroid. So our thyroid is the, how do you want to call it? The part right here. It's like right under like the crease of your fingers, like the first crease, kind of, I guess the first metacarpal crease. Anyway, we want to put a little pressure point here. A little rub, rub, rub. Rub, 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 rub. Rub, 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 rub. Okay, you want to do that to each of your fingers, but then on the back, you want to do it here as well. So on the back of the hand. Of course, do the massage longer than I'm showing you guys. I'm just doing it for time's sake. Anyway, okay. All right, so let me go back to where I was here. All right, so that is our reflexology. So those of you maybe into some pressure points, some reflexology, try those out, especially if you like to give yourself little mini massages. It feels really nice. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to what you guys was talking about. Delisha and Lilith are talking about the copper magickals. And then our friend Kath is here. She says, hi all, hey, how are you? Delisha was saying, like the best one is to rub lime and salt, putting some salt on the half-cut lime and rubbing it inside. If your hand can reach to, if it's too deep, then mix both in warm water and keep it there for 30 minutes. So they're talking about the copper matkas and the clay matkas and stuff like that. Let's see. So Lilith was talking about she's used lemon and salt before for her matka. Very cool. So I love all the cool information you guys are sharing there. Fabuloso. All right, let's go into relaxation and meditation is another wonderful way for not only just general overall healing, but really good for healing arthritis. So there's a stretch-based relaxation that you could do for 20 minutes twice a day. So it's technically 40 minutes out of your day. You might be like, my gosh, that's such a lot of time. But think about it. You would be without pain for a while. So that's kind of worth it, you know? Okay. So let's go over those relaxation methods. Okay. So first one, and you're going to do this for about 10 seconds, is put your thumbs right at the bottom of your occipital bone here, which is the bottom of your eyeball bone. You know, you have your eyeball bones like right here where your eyes go. So you put your thumbs right at that bony part, kind of also considered your cheekbones. And this part goes up at your eyebrows, and you're just going to like open your eyes really loud for 10 seconds and relax. And then go back and do it again and then relax. Okay. Then we're going to tilt our head to the side. Hold it for 10 seconds. So basically right ear going to right shoulder. Try not to put your chin down. Try to keep your head in alignment. So as if somebody has a little string at the top of your head and they're kind of like pulling your head up, you know, so your head's not back, it's not forward, but you're straight up and down. Okay. So right ear to the right shoulder. Hold it for 10 seconds. Ooh, I just heard my neck pop. That was nice. Okay. Go hold it to the left for about 10 seconds. Okay. And then you're going to place your fingertip to fingertip right there at your heart space, maybe even pointing your thumbs towards your heart. And you're going to press and hold for 10 seconds. Slowly let those fingers come together. So you don't have to press them away, but like bring them together. Just hold that for about 10 seconds. Okay. Then we're going to raise our arms above our head and interlock our fingers. So first we're going to interlock our fingers like this and raise our arms straight overhead or to whatever's comfortable for you. For some people, they can't raise their arms over their head. So, you know, if you feel like you're right here or right here, just go to where you feel is comfortable, but try to raise your arms up. You would hold that for 10 seconds. Again, your fingers are still interlocked. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my hands over and push palms to the sky. Like you're having a good stretch. That's what I do after our guided meditation. This is how I stretch. I'm like, oh, have yourself a little stretch. So again, to as far as you're comfortable. And then try to reach behind you. So let me turn around so you guys can see. So try to reach your arms behind you. I can't reach them too far. I don't have tons of flexibility in my shoulders, and again, my palms are still facing the sky. So hold that for 10 seconds. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. It shouldn't hurt you. So please do not go to the point of pain. I know that certain gym teachers in the past said no pain, no gain. I think they were talking in the metaphorical sense because technically you don't want so much pain that like sharp pain, bad. Dull pain, if you're working out, that's okay. That's just the muscles working. But like, I tore my muscle. It's a really sharp pain. Stop. You know, like I just like hurt my shoulder, my rotator cuffs. Then stop. You know? Don't go to the point of pain, not a sharp pain anyway. Okay. All right. So let's go back. So again, do that for about 20 minutes twice a day. All right. Our second to last tip for today is vitamin and mineral therapy. Those of you that love to take your vitamins, this might be for you. Okay. So for those of you that have osteoarthritis, you might want to take 500 milligrams of glucosamine sulfate 3 times a day. Glucosamine is sometimes what people give to dogs or cats that suffer from joint pain and inflammation in their joints and things like that, or hip pain. Glucosamine like works wonders. Back when I used to have tendonitis in my knees, I guess it's still there. I just don't really feel it much anymore before Kung Fu actually kind of helped to heal it. But I used to take a lot of glucosamine and it helped my knees out quite a bit. It says it takes a while to work, so please give it like a month. Don't take like one 500 milligram glucosamine and be like, this didn't do anything. It's going to take a while, so give it some time to kick in. You might also want to try 400 international units of vitamin E and take that twice a day. 200 micrograms of selenium twice a day. 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C twice a day. Okay, so those are for the people that have osteoarthritis. You might want to give those vitamins a shot. So that's the glucosamine, that's the selenium, it's vitamin E, and it's vitamin C. All right, if you are having rheumatoid arthritis issues, then you might want to try 250 milligrams of zinc picolinate twice a day, 1 milligram of copper twice a day, 200 micrograms of selenium twice a day. So it was twice a day. 2 to 3 capsules of bromelain. Remember, that's in pineapple. Pineapple is the only thing that has bromelain in it, which is a really good digestive enzyme. Take that 3 times a day, or just eat some pineapple. And do that between meals. Last one, it says you can also take 1 borage oil capsule twice a day. Okay, so again, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, it's 250 milligrams of zinc picolinate twice a day, 1 milligram of copper twice a day, 200 micrograms of selenium twice a day, 2 to 3 capsules of bromelain 3 times a day between meals, and 1 borage oil capsule twice a day. All right. Let's see what you guys have going on here. Lilith was talking about Delicia's comment about lime and everything. And Lilith was saying, it's my go-to for seasoning meat. So I always have it. And I just realized I season my meat the same way I clean my matka. That's hilarious. Hey, sometimes the things we season things with are also really good household cleaners. Delicia says, squeeze, squeeze. And she was asking if there's any other way to get the lemon juice. Gotta give it the squeeze. All right, you guys, the last form for helping out your arthritis, helping to rid yourself of it, release it, along with the spiritual help and the energetic exercises. If arthritis affects your hands and fingers, a series of 6 exercises done once a day can help loosen that up. They are called curling, contracting, fanning, the fish, deer, and peacock's tail. It's a type of yoga for your fingers. So, sometimes people with yoga, they can't get down into downward facing dog or, cat cows and things like that because their hands and their wrists hurt, or maybe their knees hurt and things like that. So if you find that your arthritis is relegated to your hands and your wrists, then these exercises should help alleviate some of that. So again, it's 6 exercises and do it once a day. That's it. Okay, so let me show you the exercises. Okay, first is to, let me see, maybe, yeah, I'll show you with my right hand. Okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your pointer finger and curl it underneath your thumb, as if like you were going to make the okay sign, but it's like a really weird okay sign. So it's not this, but it's this. Okay, so you're just going to hold it there for a few seconds. And then I'm going to do that with my middle finger. And I'm going to do it with my ring finger and my pinky. Now I do want to point out that at this point, your arm should be straight out in front of you when you do this. And you're going to do it with both hands. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, for all of these exercises, say for one, you're going to have your arms straight out in front of you. So as straight out in front of you is comfortable for you, because I know some people, your shoulders hurt. So next, which is, that one was called curling, by the way. So if you're wondering what the name of that one, that was called curling. This one is called contracting. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to press down. So instead of curling inwards, I'm pressing down fingertip to fingertip. Okay, starting with the pointer finger and the thumb, then going to my middle finger and thumb, then ring finger and thumb, then pinky and thumb. Okay, try to hold them at least for a few seconds each, maybe even 10 seconds. Then this is the one where your arms aren't going to be straight out in front of you. So in yoga, sometimes people say go to prayer pose, where your hands are at a prayer position at your heart level and your elbows are out. Well, we want to start to bring the elbows in and do this with our wrists. So rolling back and forth. We're rolling out that wrist. Okay, so you can do that a few times, especially if it feels good. And that is called fanning. So you're like a fan. The next one is called fish. And I'm going to put my right hand over my left hand. So it's like little fishy fins. And what we're going to do is we're going to swim with our thumbs. We're going to roll them in little circles, try to go in the opposite direction, and then go the other way. And do that for a few seconds. Okay? And then you can switch hands too, see how that goes. All right. Next is called the deer. This one's kind of interesting. So you're going to take you're basically going to do the rock star hand gesture, but you're going to take your ring finger and your middle finger. You're going to put them inside, almost like you're saying, I love you, but we're going to do something else. And then your thumb is going to go here, and we're going to basically like deer antlers, deer horns. Okay. So deer antlers sticking straight out. And I'm going to do my left hand first. So I'm going to take my right hand and I'm just going to like caress, just pet my deer, pet the deer. Oh, my dear. It's okay, little deer. Okay. So rub the back of your hand right here, right underneath the knuckles. Okay. So just do that for a few seconds and then switch hands. So it's okay, little deer. So just rub it. All right. So then is fanning. And so this is something that I remember seeing the boys do when I was in elementary school, when I was like in, I don't know, 5th grade or something. The boys used to do it and the girls would be like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. What are you doing? Turns out they were doing something that was actually beneficial for their joints. So we're going to, let's see, maybe it's better I do it with this hand so you can see. Okay. So I'm going to, first my arm is going to be straight out. And then I'm going to bring my fingers into pressing my fingertips together. And then I might use my other hand to help me bring my middle finger over my index finger, then bringing my ring finger over my middle finger. Okay, it's not working so well, but you get the picture. And then the pinky finger, which I have midget pinkies, over my ring finger. So all the fingers are kind of like layered one on top of the other. You might have to hold that pinky in, at least I do, because my pinky doesn't reach. So hold that for a few seconds and then do that with your other hand as well. Ooh, man, my joints are like getting a workout right now. Woo. All right. Let's see. Delisha says, Tara, you should really keep a workshop for arthritis. And she's like, that face. I know, right? Well, anyway, so those were all my tips and tricks for arthritis, whether it was osteo or rheumatoid that you or a friend or a family member might suffer from. And so again, it's just in combination to whatever spiritual work or prayer or meditation or energy work, that you've been already going inwards, looking into, trying to find what the imbalance is, trying to find, what's being stored in the body, or as Bach of the flower essences might say, that maybe we have certain emotions that we're keeping trapped within our body. And in terms of arthritis, he would say that we have repressed anger, or we're storing some sort of anger or frustration inside of our bodies. But so just to recap, we took a look into we took a look into a lot of things. We took a look into acupressure, aromatherapy, Ayurveda, flower remedy essences, homeopathy, imagery, juice therapy, massage, reflexology, relaxation and meditation, vitamin and mineral therapy, and yoga. And ooh, one more. I can't. Oh, um, this one was kind of like I think it was connected to taking vitamins. Yeah. So if you were a person that likes taking supplements and vitamins, it was also taking a look into your diet as well. So not just like trying to throw a vitamin on top of the fire, hoping it's going to put it out. You might want to see what's actually starting that fire, and it could be some of the foods that you're eating. So I just quickly want to go over food. So, okay. It says that, some people might say, oh, well, if I have whole wheat toast, some low fat yogurt, and a banana on top, that's really healthy, right? But turns out a lot of people have allergies to or adverse responses to those very things. Some people can't do bananas. Some people can't do dairy. Some people have glucose or, gluten intolerances, and they can't even, or they have wheat intolerances. So that whole breakfast there would just like cause an immediate flare up in their arthritis. Luckily, we don't have to pare down every food on the planet. There's usually certain foods that people either they're okay with or they're really not okay with. And those foods are dairy products. Some people are okay with it, some people not okay. Last Sunday, Costolini was talking about drinking raw milk, and that his inflammation is actually going away. He's like seeing a lot of changes in his body, and sometimes that's it. Maybe you need to go to non-homogenized milk, and because we do pump our cows full of stuff and vaccines and things like that, and maybe it's just not doing so good in the milk department or dairy department. But maybe dairy in the country that you live in is just not doing you good. It's doing you dirty, man. Or it could be egg products. Maybe eggs, not so good with the eggs. Again, it could be regional. Some people might be fine with Henrietta the chicken laying eggs in their backyard, but they go to the store and buy eggs with, hormone pumped chickens, and all of a sudden they're not so good with eggs. So, it might depend on the type of eggs and the type of milk that you're also taking in as well. Citrus fruits. Sometimes people just aren't good with citrus fruits. And this is all pertaining to arthritis. I'm not talking about every ailment on the planet. I'm just talking about arthritis. Wheat products, bananas, kidney, lima, and string beans. So kidney, lima, and string beans. Chemicals and processed foods in general, probably just should stay away from processed foods. Any food that you crave excessively, or that you have more than 3 times a week. So if you're like, I really need a Pop-Tart, I need my Pop-Tarts. Okay, number 1, it's processed. Number 2, there's probably something in it that usually when we crave something, it's not always good for us. It's us, our body's trying to tell us, hey, that thing that you want, I actually don't want it. You're hurting me. Or you eat it more than 3 times a week. So maybe I'm having Pop-Tarts like 5 times a week. Probably not good for me, probably hurting my heart, causing arthritis. So usually you would eliminate all of those things, let's say, to see if your foods are contributing to your arthritic pains. So this isn't to say that every time you have arthritis, it's because of food, but it's good to rule it out, right? So all of those things, dairy products, egg products, citrus fruit, wheat products, bananas, kidney, lima, and string beans, processed food, anything that you crave, or anything that you eat more than 3 times a week, just cut it out of your diet. So cut it out of your diet. Let it sit there for like a few weeks, see how you do. So if you start to be like, ooh, I'm actually feeling an improvement in my arthritis, well, now you know that one of the things you're eating was probably contributing to your arthritis. If you're like, no, I'm still in pain from my arthritis, okay, then it's not the food that you're eating. So, but let's say it is. It's like, I do feel a lot better because I've cut all of those things out. Now we can start incorporating one of those things each week. So first, I'm going to try to incorporate dairy. Did I have an arthritis flare up after I ate dairy? Maybe I didn't. And I'm like, okay, cool. It wasn't dairy. So the next week I can incorporate the eggs. So you have to go down the list, but give 1 week for each thing on the list. And you might discover that it's more than one thing that's contributing to your arthritis. So maybe I'm really not doing well on wheat products, so okay, we know that wheat's one of them. I put wheat into my diet for that next week, that third or fourth week, whatever. And my arthritis just was killing me. Okay, so gotta check wheat off the off the list. But now I still need to go down the list. So I go down and I try bananas. And then, ooh, bananas wasn't doing good for me either. Okay, now bananas is off my list. Okay, I go down, I try the kidney, lima, and string beans. I was okay. Okay, then I go down the list and I find out processed foods, just no Pop Tarts for me. And so it's like, okay. And I go down the whole list. This might take you a month or two, to really figure it out. But maybe at the end of it all, I find out, okay, wheat is no good for me. Bananas are no good for me. And processed food, just no good for my arthritis. So try not to eat those things or that thing for at least 6 months. Like let your whole body just reset itself. You can return to eating it if you wish, but about twice a week with at least 3 days between the times that you eat it. So let's say I reintroduce bananas into my diet after I let my body reset for 6 months without any bananas. I'll have bananas on Monday, and then maybe I'll have bananas again on Thursday. And that's my twice a week. So I'll have a banana and then another banana, and then I should be okay. If you are having issues with more than one food group, like I might have an issue again with like the wheat and bananas, then I'm not going to have wheat toast and banana on the same day. Try not to have them on the same day. Otherwise it's like, double whammy for your body again. But in small doses, once your body's like kind of like cleansed it out, then you're okay. You kind of like reset things. So like maybe I'll have some wheat toast on Tuesday and banana on Monday. And then, maybe I'll have like banana again on Thursday, and I'll have another piece of wheat toast on like Sunday, or Saturday. So just not on the same day. Okay, so that was like the last thing I wanted to add just about food. But again, it might not be food related for you, but it's always good to check out. And plus, you might find that maybe it wasn't the food that was causing my arthritis, but I found out it's the food that's giving me zits, or maybe it's the food that's been giving me halitosis, or certain food that's been, giving me some digestive trouble. So just something to check out. Okay. Costalini says duck eggs and raw milk was breakfast yesterday. Hey, high five. Very nice. I found out yesterday. So there's this food truck up here in the White Mountains called the Salsa Truck. By the way, if you love good salsa, that is a really good truck. They have good Mexican food too, but their salsa, it's got really good flavor and good heat if you like some heat. But anyway, the guy that helps out the owner, like he's the cook, he was talking about his sister who lives around here, and she sells eggs, like, organic eggs, like straight out of her chickens, so like that's really cool. I think he said she also sells like raw milk and stuff like that. And I know that there are a few people around here that they sell different eggs, duck eggs, chicken eggs. Somebody does sell an ostrich egg. There are some people around here that have goat's milk. There's like llama milk. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then of course, raw cow milk. So it's kind of cool, to have people who are living off grid or have, farms and things like that, where you can try out some of the stuff that isn't in the stores, that isn't pumped full of stuff. And you might find that maybe it's just the stuff they're pumping full of the animals that you're having an adverse reaction to, and not the animal itself. So kind of cool to look into. And Costalini, I like the breakfast. Delisha says, when I get an electric shock in my childhood, I remember my grandmother making me drink raw dairy milk after she said that raw milk really works. It does something I don't remember exactly, but yeah. And she says, duck eggs, never had or heard of them here in India. And Costalini says, that's so cool. You get so much more variety. One reason we eat chicken eggs is because it's cheaper for them to pump them out. Cheaper and faster. Yeah. I had one of my neighbors, she wanted to give me one of her, actually a few of her chickens, but I don't have anything set up for the chickens yet, and I don't want them to get eaten by coyotes. So, but she says when she has some more chickens and I'm ready for them, she'll she'll give them to me, but she says, so she would have like these little chicks, but they would be ready. And like, or not little chicks, but they were pretty young, but they would be ready by May. Like, let's say if they were pretty young in January, but by May they would already be producing eggs. And I was like, whoa. And I must have forgotten that because my grandparents raised rabbits and chickens. And I think they had something else at one point, but I was too young to remember. But I remember like all like the chicken coops and the coops for the bunnies, or I guess the enclosure that my youngest uncle and my grandfather had built. And I thought it was just so cool. It was like every day it was like Easter egg hunt, because you never knew where on the property the eggs would be. So I would check in the shed, I would check in the vehicles that weren't running, I would check under the hoods, I would check like, around the house. I'd go underneath the crawl space of the house. The chickens were everywhere. And I had this little basket with me, and I would just put all these eggs in. And the eggs I thought looked like Easter eggs because they're multicolored. Like speckled chickens make speckled eggs, like blue feather chickens make blue eggs, brown chickens make brown eggs, white chickens make white eggs. So I thought it's funny when people say, oh, brown eggs are better for you than white eggs. And I was like, really? It just means it came from a brown chicken. It's literally just the color of the chicken. But anyway, so cool. So cool. Okay. Let's see. Delisha says, I'm guessing your boyfriend must be a good listener as you love yapping. Yes, I do. That's why my family calls me Jabberjoss. Okay. Let's get to those super chats and super stickers. So Delisha, I know that you had originally put in for a super chat. So let me know what your question is, and let's go ahead and sling some cards. And then afterwards, let's do our guided meditation. All right. Always end on a healing note. Okay, make sure and give myself another little spritz. All right. So yes, Delisha, let me know your question. What deck do I want to utilize? Let's utilize my botanical inspirations. Flowers. I love flowers. Sometimes I like just shuffling my cards and laying them out, but I'm like not really doing a reading with them. I like just how they're just so beautiful, Anyway, but this is my botanical inspiration. It's got beautiful like little flowers on each card. It just makes me so happy. Makes my heart sing. All right, and then Kath has a question as well. Excellent. Let's see, Delisha says, let's see what's coming up for me this time. Okay. And Lilith says, well, I didn't know that about the eggs. I also love to hear Tara yap. Well, I'm glad. All right. So let's go ahead and tap in for Delisha. What's coming up for her? First, let's see if we have anything on Spiritual FM, Radio for the Soul. Or maybe it's Netflix for the soul. I don't know what's coming on the on the dial. Is it TV? Is it music? $2,000 party over oops out of time. Tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. do, 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 do. All right, Prince, 1999. All right. Good spiritual radio choice. Happens to be the year I graduated high school. Anyway, that was a good year. Okay, so let's pull a card for you and let's see what that song or the title or what it has to do with what's coming up for you. All right, so here we have the Asters. Elegance and patience. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Patience. Interesting. That almost is like the opposite of the song where it says 2000 party over oops out of time. So we're being in the present. So tonight we're going to party like it's 1999. So it's almost like, times are about to change. So we might as well live in the present. And well, I guess it's not the opposite. No, this card kind of goes along with it then, because if this card is all about patience and elegance, then it's all about not rushing to, well, we're past the year, we're in the year 2000 now, but 2026. But it's like not rushing. We don't need to rush into whatever's coming for us next. So let's tap into that. Let's see what's the message in that. Okay, so I'm saying with all the excitement that comes with, ending the school year or ending a chapter of school, like when we end high school, and many of us go on to either a trade school or a college or some sort of apprenticeship or something. There's like this next chapter. Maybe we go into the workforce, or maybe we go on a spiritual journey and I take a year off, I take a gap year or something. It's this next chapter. And when we get to several chapters later, we're going to be looking back on this time. Delisha, you're going to be looking back on this time right now when you were a teenager and remembering all of the exams, the teachers that you loved, the teachers that didn't love so much, the ones that you thought were hilarious, the interesting occurrences that happened while you're in school, the friends that you made, the friends that you lost, the crushes that you had, the later on, kind of rolling your eyes like, how did I even have a crush on that person? Like, what the heck? And it's a beautiful reminiscence to have when you're older, when you're many chapters down, all the things that may have frustrated us in the moment when we were like 17, 18 years old, when it was like, it felt like it was the end of the world for us, like, oh my gosh, this person doesn't want to be my friend anymore, or this person started gossip about me. And it just like felt like our life was over. Our little social life was over. And it's not to disregard the feeling we're having in that moment. We have to live through those things. Our whole point of being here is to live, is to make choices with our free will and live. And so, yeah, we have to live through the choices that we make and the choices that other people make and that affect us and all of that. But also just being present with it all is kind of the duality of it, that, as stressful as school may be right now and exams and, just wishing it were all over, there's going to be a part later on where you're like, man, I wish I had just like this much more time to be with those friends that, I don't get to hang out with when I'm like 30, 40 years old, or, somebody I never got to see again. But I thought, it was just so natural when we're in school. We see these people all the time that we don't realize how much of a change it is when we're not in school, literally seeing those friends every single day, that we have to make more effort to get together with people, to call people and things like that. So for all the headache that you may be having, and all the joys that you may be having as well, try to soak as much of it in as possible. So journal about it, even dictate on your phone about it, if you're not much of a writer, but you like to, speak into the phone and talk about the things that are happening in your life, or maybe record it, take pictures, sketch it, paint it, any way where you can just be in the present with all of the things that are happening. Just really grateful. I'm grateful for the headaches of my exams and the fact that I can take my exams, that I'm in a school and that I'm learning so much, that I had teachers, even if I didn't like them so much, or maybe teachers that I love, but the fact that they're there helping me to learn new things I didn't know before. Friends that, I might not be able to connect with later, but I'm definitely having a wonderful time with them now. Even the people that I would consider not my friends, they're teaching me so much as well. And I'm going to take that with me into adulthood, later on. So, that chapters later when you're, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, you're looking back on those years and you're just like, wow, we tend to look back and just be like, man, that was a lot of fun. And I'm so glad I had all of those memories, even though now we might be like, rush, rush, rush. Can't wait to finish school. So this is just your chance to slow down, really savor it. You're doing great. Things are going to turn out great for you. You know what a beautiful life ahead of you. So just soak it in right now, so that you have something wonderful to look back on later. All right. So I hope that makes sense to you. Thank you, Dalisha, for allowing me to tap in. She's like, this that song was going on inside your head. Heck yeah. All right. Alicia said, I was saying patience also when you were connecting. Ooh. Hey, Kath is also a graduate of 1999. High five. High five. Nice. Nice. Best year ever, right? All right. So, Kath, let's dive into your reading. You said, I'd love to know about my past life. I've been told I was a powerful witch and wondering how I might access those gifts in this lifetime. So, it's usually just a remembrance, all these past lives that we have and all of these skills that we obtain. We just remember them or have to remember them. Yeah. Okay. So, let's tap in. She says the 90s were great. They were. I can only speak for the 80s and the 90s, 81s as far as I go back, but um, living through 80s, 90s, I thought they were really good. Um, I don't know. I felt like 96 was like for me the peak of the 90s and as far as like music and stuff. But yeah, I like the 90s in totality. Maybe it's because I was older when I started year 2000 onwards, and maybe I just didn't connect to it so much, but I just had a harder time connecting to music and TV shows and everything after that. Not to say that there aren't some good music and some good TV shows that came out afterwards and movies and everything, but I don't know. Just felt like 90s, we ended everything on an amazing note. All the cool stuff. Okay, so Cass, let's dive in to this past life. Oh, okay. So instead of allowing, song or a TV show or a movie to come through, I was actually just trying to go to the life itself. And it feels like you were a midwife, actually. Let's see if I can get an era. I would say this is based on the attire that I see, somewhere between like late early 1700s to mid 1700s, not late 1700s, but I was almost going to say like late 1600s, but it's more like early 1700s to mid 1700s. And I just see this woman. She's a young lady, actually. She's probably about the same age Delisha is right now. So like late teens, early 20s. She seems very young, but she looks scared out of her mind because this is the very first child she's ever had. And it feels like just the women are in the room. So it might be the mother of this young lady and her sisters and perhaps an auntie or two. I don't really see a grandmother, but it's just women in this room. And so the woman is not really laying flat on her back. She's actually at sort of an angle where she's like on, the old school like birthing blocks. So like her feet are on these blocks. And so that way it's like gravity helps the baby come out. And so she's like sweating, she's scared, she's vomiting because of contractions. She's a hot mess right now. And you are there just like consoling her and just, I don't know, you have this energy about you that's really soothing and calm. And you're just letting her know that every woman in that room, your sisters included, have all given birth. Everybody's as happy as can be. The babies are healthy. She feels like your baby is healthy, or you are saying your baby is healthy. Um, And just like this reassurance just lets her know, like, you're nothing bad's going to happen to you. This is natural. Like, many women on this planet go through this process, and more than once, like multiple times. And some people have very large families, and that, this is just the beginning of your very large family, and this is something that she wants. And it's not that she's scared to have a baby. She's afraid that something's going to be wrong with the baby, or that something might happen to her, or something, like there would be complications, because that's a very real thing to happen back then. But you're very knowledgeable in like these different ointments. Like, you're putting something on her chest, rubbing. So, it's almost like that aromatherapy. You're rubbing something on her chest to help calm her. So like she's inhaling it. It might even be lavender. Um, Helping to calm her. You have, it's a cold compress with like herbs on her forehead. And her mother's holding it there while she's like trying to bear down. And it's like, no matter what her fear is or what's coming up, like too much bleeding or something, it's like you automatically know. Like, I know what herb for that. I know what aromatherapy for that. I know what to rub on her body and her lower back in order to like ease um, the arrival of the baby, to like open up her hips a little bit more, and the birth canal. Like, you just know. Um, And there's even like, it's not soap, but it's something that you put on your hands to basically sterilize them, because your hands are basically going in and kind of helping this head that's coming out. And then the next thing I see is just, there's somebody's like apron or something that's nearby, but the baby gets wrapped in it, and a blanket too. And the mother's holding the child, and she's like exhausted. She can't even keep her eyes open. But you even have like an aftercare for her. Like, you're going to be there with her for a while until she can kind of care for the baby herself. But I see that you did this for a lot of young women, and even older women who'd already had, multiple children. But even in that, it like felt so powerful, like just to have that amount of knowledge. Like, it was like a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips, which definitely, seems very witchy, very magical. Just like, oh, this is happening, and there was no panic on your end. Even when it seems like the woman's bleeding too much, too excessively, when the baby's about to be born, it's like, nope, I know how to clot the blood. I know how to slow it down, so that we could save both baby and mother. And it was just like, you just knew, and you didn't panic. You're just cool with everything. And so many women trusted you. But it's interesting, in that vision, I don't think you had children of your own, though. Um, but you felt like God had pushed you to help other women have children. In essence, it was like, you bringing child after child after child into the world, but you didn't have to do it through your own means. You helped all these other women do it, and they were very grateful for you. Wow. Okay, so let's pull a card just to make sure we're on the right place here. So we have clematis, beautiful little plant. This is intelligence and mental beauty. Wisdom is in the abstract of the past, but beauty is in the promise of the future. All right. So I feel like there was some beauty in what you did. It was just the calming presence that you had, the plethora of knowledge that you had. And there was no, I mean, even though for a time it seemed that you were upset that you and your husband couldn't bear children. but then it was like you had this calling to help other women. Like you absolutely love children. You love the whole childbirth process from beginning to, baby comes into the world. And it was just so wonderful for you that you felt like that was still a blessing. Like God was still blessing you, like blessing you with insane amount of knowledge, not like it came out of thin air, but you were a quick study. You learned all these things. You were interested and you read up on them. You were well learned. I don't think you had any formal schooling, but you learned fast from all the people that also did that, and from doctors and herbalists and things like that. And so you felt like, hey, this is my calling. It may not be the way I wanted it to be, but this is what I was meant to do, and it makes me absolutely happy, and it makes all these women like happy, and I'm happy that they're safe and their children are safe. And oh my gosh, just wow. You were amazeballs, and you are amazeballs. So cool. Okay. Let's see. She says, born September 81. Heck yeah. I've always been interested in aromatherapy, and I love lavender oil, as did my nan. That's beautiful. Thank you. You are very welcome. So yeah, definitely tap into that. Delving into the natural world around us if you haven't done so already. And you might find that you already have an affinity for it because you were really good at it. So it's just remembering, so very cool. All right. Let's see. Do we have anybody else for super chats, super stickers? Because if not, then I feel like we need to ask Moen to guide us in a meditation before we end this live chat today. Okay. Am I out of floof? It might have turned to liquid now. It's cold now, but that's cool. It's good, hot or cold. I'm definitely making more after this live chat. That was a good tea. I'm writing down that recipe. I'm like, ooh. Because I kind of just wanted to come up with something. I was like, ooh, that's good. While we are waiting to see if we have any more super chats or super stickers, I do want to say thank you to all of my subscribers for being here with me on this journey, for coming into the live chats with us, for hanging out with us, for checking out the videos. I do have another video coming out tomorrow. It's actually a review video. So every once in a while, I have publishing companies. In this instance, it's Inner Traditions. They're called Inner Traditions Bear Company. And I believe they have different publications all around the world, but this one that I work with directly, they are out of Oregon, and they send me like books and sometimes decks and things like that for review. And so recently what they sent me was the Ataya, the Petite Ataya. So it's how like that whole system works, just kind of like how divination kind of came about in, certain area in the 1774 or 5. I believe is when it came out, but it's just a direct translation of the French of the Petite Ataya. And I don't know, I found it interesting. I love history. So like history of all things. I could look at the history of cars, history of, so if you're a history buff in cards, but also want to know how to kind of like create your own system or, whatever it may be, I definitely check out that review. It's just a quick and simple review. I don't like get all into it. I'm not all chatty like you do in these live chats, but it might be something that you're interested in. So stay tuned. That's coming out tomorrow. But I also want to thank my mighty moderators. One of them is my boyfriend. He's hot. Anyway, then I have my YouTube members. Thank you guys so much. Mwah! You guys know who you are. They got a little colored kitty head next to their screen name. So that's Duality Tail, Costalini, Cinnamon Girl 8611, Jonathan Cleese, Nancy from Macron's Intuition, and also for my patrons, Linda, Sugna Baby, Casey Gritter, Joel, Oz, Palu, Brandy, Brian, Lily, Crystal, Easy Does It, Dana, Jamie, and Ashley. Thank you guys so much. And this upcoming week, you'll have your new weekly musings blog. Also, we are continuing on the journey of horsetail with my Wanderers tier. And we went through the tale called The Ebony Horse, and it was actually connected to horsetail, the herb, and that came from the story of 101 Nights. So if you are interested in joining Patreon and checking that out, that is my $3 tier. So definitely check it out. Okay. Lilith says, yes, I'm so busy working anyway. I'll send a PayPal, but I think it's time to open Pandora's box and tap into my mom. Okay, all right, so let's take a look-ski, Lilith. I'm gonna have a sip of my water. Stay hydrated, my friends. Okay. All right, so taking a look into your mom. So any particular thing or just doing a tap in and see what comes up with your mom? What deck? Ooh, you know what deck we could use? We could use the deck that I made. I didn't do any like mass production with it. It's just on makeplayingcards.com. It's actually on my website, in my shop, like not in the listings of the shop, but if you go down to where the listings end, it says find my Victorian Flowers Oracle on makeplayingcards.com. You just click on that link and you'll find this deck. Because I love flowers so much. And I did research into like Victorian flowers and how back in the day, if you wore like a yellow flower, it had a meaning, or if you had a little lavender sprig on your collar that had a meaning, or a peony, or, so I don't know. I thought that's kind of cool. People speaking to each other through flowers. It's like secret code, like, I love you. I think you're hot. You're hotter. It's just like through their flowers, because freaking Victorian era was so high collared. So anyway, so I have this deck. So we're gonna use this with Lilith. She says, yeah, let's just let spirit guide us. And Melly said, I love flowers and herbs so much. Well, you're in the right place, my friend. Okay, so let's do a little tap in, Lilith. To Mommy Dearest. Just whatever you need to know. What do you... Well, that's interesting. So I neither heard music nor like entertainment, but I was at the beach, or it wasn't me, it was you. It's like a stony beach, like little pebbles instead of sand. It's overcast and dark, and the waves, there's a giant wave set coming in, like a set of waves, but they're getting bigger and bigger. And you were like knee deep in the water, but now we're trying to get out of the water. And it's like, excuse me, the more you try to escape the water, the bigger the waves are. It's almost like they're like high tide is coming rapidly. You're like trying to escape the water and the massive waves that keep crashing onto shore. Trying to run up the rocks, trying to get away from them, but it's like the water keeps coming. So I feel this is more emotional. Like the water, which usually in psychology represents the emotions. I feel like there's so much, not just one way, but several, but it's like the more you try to get away from them, the bigger they get. So meaning the more they're not acknowledged, the more difficult they are to move through them. Okay, so let's pull a card. Well, it's like, that's not ominous at all. No, it's not ominous. It's just more talking about the emotional state that, sometimes we feel like, that's kind of like a big topic. I don't really, want to deal with it right now. But like every time it comes up, if we tell ourselves that, it's just like the feeling gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what it felt like with the waves. Like I've been kind of putting something off for so long that now it's like, now the waves are like literally chasing me. It's like trying to hunt me down. Like you're going to deal with these emotions. Okay. So, hey, we were just talking about lavender. I mean, how many times are we going to have lavender? We have Lavi. We have my literal lavender. This lavender water is just so freaking nice. And the cards or not the cards, but the pictures I took with my little Fuji Insta camera, they have purple frames on them. So they're like lavender frames. So that's kind of cool. Lots of lavender coming in. But anyway, so we have lavender here on the card. And it says, answers, relief, uncertainty. Okay, so let's do a little tap in with our herb friend, lavender. I love me some lavender. Lavender muffins, lavender tea, lavender everything. Lavender in my clothes. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to put it into words. Okay, so so this is like, if you want to have a physical conversation with your mom, or if you just wanted to have an energetic conversation with your mom, either or, it's your free will choice to have either or. But bringing up the questions that really, like, that you really have. Sometimes we're afraid to ask those questions because we're afraid that, like, let's say this isn't true, but let's say my mother had a drinking problem. And the question I'm afraid to ask her is if I have a drinking problem too. Because I'm afraid the answer might be yes. But by airing out that question, we air our fears. And it really doesn't matter what the mother's response is. It's the fact that we finally aired that fear. We're not keeping that fear inside of us anymore. It's not festering. It's not turning into arthritis, as Bach of the Flower Essences might say, because we're keeping something stored within our body. But instead, we release it. And then we can figure out where that fear comes from. So it might be because we've watched mom do a lot of really inappropriate things or make horrible decisions, or maybe she wasn't a really kind person when she drank. And so I'm afraid that I might have that in me too. And, along the way, maybe there's trauma with that, but remember that you are two separate people. Just because she does something doesn't mean you have to do it too. Maybe we learned it, it's a learned behavior. And so we have this fear. But also part of the fear might be stemming from, it's like, well, if I'm really honest with myself, let's say I drink a bottle of wine a day, and then I'm like, well, but does that really have anything to do with my mom? Maybe she might have been an influence, but her DNA doesn't make me, drink a bottle a day. I make that choice every day. And because I make that choice, I can change that choice. So now we have released that fear. Just because she does something doesn't mean I also have to do it. It's all my free will choice, but it feels like it is time to air those fears. Like, why did you do this? Why this? Does that mean it's me too? Does that mean is this a part of me too? And if it is, then we have the power to release it. We know how to pray. We know how to meditate. We know how to, pull in the divine to help us out. We know how to find the divine within us as well. So we know how to help release this over time. But it feels like it's time to face the ocean, those ocean of emotions. Because when you do, the water starts to recede. Because I see you like turning around, the water is receding, the waves aren't coming after you. The only reason they're coming after you is because you're running away from them. But the moment you stopped and turned around and faced them, then it's like, okay, it's okay to air out those fears, no matter if you think they sound ridiculous or not. It's like, just say them. Am I this because of this? Do I have this in me as well? Am I this? And now we've aired it. That's like number one. We just opened up our throat chakra. just it's out. Now let's look at why we have that fear. Okay, I saw this in this person who is related to me, and that's where this fear is coming from. I'm afraid, that somehow I may have picked it up, and maybe you did. Maybe you picked it up inadvertently, but we can release that. If you learn the behavior, you can also change that behavior. So I see this as like a really pivotal time in your life right now to like really dive into some of the more difficult emotions that you have been having, surrounding your mom and all the multitude of questions that you may have. So like I said, you can have a physical conversation with her and ask these questions, but it's more just so for the energy of asking them to the person that you have all of this emotion surrounding, or you could do it energetically, whatever is best for you. But the fact is that it's you. You have to voice it. That's what Spirit's like. Voice it, get it out, and then figure out where this fear is actually coming from. And then let's take some actionable steps to bring the power, put the power back in our hands, so that we can change behaviors. We can release the trauma, but we do need to voice these things. Lilith says she's impossible to talk to. You never know where the truth lies in her. I've tried. So yeah, it's not about getting truth from her, because human beings lie. It's human nature. It's part of the ego. But she symbolizes many emotions that you have and fears that you have. She's the symbol of that. So it's more just voicing those fears to that symbol so that it's out. But again, like I said, you don't have to actually speak to her face to face. This could be energetically, where you see her in your mind's eye and you're like, Mom, why this? Why that? Is this connected to me? Is that also in me? Is this in my DNA? Like what, why? And then once they're out, okay, now let's figure out where my fears were actually coming from. Is it in something I saw in her? Is it a pattern that I saw myself picking up on? If it is, then I can change that pattern. I have the power to do that. So this is just putting your power back in your hands, but you have to figure out what you're actually afraid of. Not afraid of isn't I'm afraid of spiders, but what I'm afraid of learning about myself. But remember, fear of the unknown just perpetuates more fear. So the more we understand, it's like, you know what? I have to be honest. I do this just like my mom. I do this just like my mom. But you know what? I'm not my mom. She's a totally different person. She's a separate soul from me. I'm my own soul. So I can change those behaviors. That's the beauty of my free will and the beauty of her free will. So hope that makes sense there. She said, yeah, all right, that makes sense. Oh, good. Glad it helped. Costalini says, I just ordered lavender soap this morning. Took a hot minute to realize the synchronicity. I was checking the Amazon status when you said that. Oh my gosh, dude. Freaking. Maybe I need to make a lavender tea tonight. Dude, that is so cool. Lilith, you are very, very welcome, my friend. All right, you guys. Well, on that synchronistic lavender note of peace and serenity and groundedness. No, I shouldn't waste all my lavender water. I was going to spritz myself again. It's like, it just smells so good. I just want to, but we'll hold off until this evening when I have to spritz my pillow. Okay, so let's go into our guided meditation, but this time we're going to ask Mullen to help us out. So let me move some things around for you guys, create a pleasing area. Ooh, and let's see if our, how's our little charcoal doing? Could you accept more herb, or are you all charcoaled out? Maybe you could, maybe. All right, let's try. I mean, it's still got a little bit of heat, but I don't think much to burn the herbs. But okay, well, we tried. I don't feel like burning a whole new charcoal. Oh, yeah. See, it's got a little bit of smoke. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. I smell a lot of the rosemary. Rosemary, super healing. Hey, rosemary. We talked about earlier, rosemary and chamomile, remember, for the aromatherapy to help out with arthritis. Nice. Okay. Okay, so let me move the camera around. Labby, let them see the mullein. Do. There we go. Okay. Well, maybe I could scoot you guys back a little bit. At least get the candle. There we go. Perfecto. Okay. All right. So I'm actually feeling the drum. I don't know why Mullein is asking me to bring in the drum. But you know what? If Mullein was used by ancient cultures to drive away evil and naughty things, then cultures also use the drum to chase away the devil and negative spirits. So that is what we're going to do. I'm just going to follow Mullein's lead. I'll do the introductory, get you guys into it, but yeah, we'll let Mullein take the wheel. All right. So you guys go ahead and find yourselves a nice, comfortable space, a place you will be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be laying in your bed, sitting in a chair, perhaps seated on the floor, or laying against your favorite tree. And as you begin to situate yourself, you bring your awareness to the breath, just feeling the rise and fall of the chest, monitoring your inhales, your exhales, seeing where you feel them in the body. Do you feel any blockages anywhere, any pain? Where do you feel the most content, the most joy, like our little citrine and tea that we had earlier today? Where do you feel ease in the body? And as you breathe in, let's breathe in light to every inch of that divinely created body, every cell, every organ, every hair follicle, just breathing light into it. And whatever pains us or wherever we feel heavy or blocked, we just release that in the breath. Then flow just like the ocean. Breath is nothing to be afraid of. What we realize and what we release is for our growth. And it is through love. And as you continue breathing, you might even want to imagine the tall, stoic stalks of the mullein plant, its giant, almost Jurassic leaves spilling out with furry love. Such beautiful yellow flowers, numbering in the hundreds, adorning that stalk, reminding you of the sun, joy of summer, of the solar plexus, of courage, the bravery of lions. Imagine those stalks are surrounding you, sentinels of protection. And here we have a seat, sitting in the middle, these tall and beautiful healing sentinels. And we listen to what they have to say. All right, guys, go ahead and thank Mullen for coming to you, offering its messages, its aid, and wherever you needed it most. And bring your awareness back into your body. Go ahead and winkle your fingers and toes, and perhaps give yourself a little stretch. Maybe even using one of the stretches we learned earlier today. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this little herbally journey we took today, learning about our friend Mullen, and actually hanging out with a lot of lavender today. So maybe it was kind of like lavender and Mullen. Ooh, I could make a lavender and Mullen smoke blend. That would be freaking be awesome. You don't have to add Miss Mary Jane to it. You could just have an herbal smoke blend, not that Mary Jane isn't an herb, but so I'm saying that would be really good. Or maybe even a tea. I can make that. Oh, it'd be really good. But yeah, and thank you for joining me as we walked around the property and checked out the winter version of Mullen at the moment. And thank you to everybody who allowed me to read for them. Love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All of the mighty moderators, everybody who joined in the chat. And and thank you for listening in on arthritis, both osteo and rheumatoid. So maybe you could pass on some tips for friends, family, or maybe even for yourself. Hopefully you find them helpful. So thank you guys so much. Castas, wow, I had goosebumps. Mullen was coming in and I was like, dude, I thought, maybe I would just, it would be like a verbal guided meditation. It was like, no, we're busting out the drum. Like we're doing it. I was like, okay. So I just like felt through it. And it was like, if I think at some point I was like, okay, Mullen, we can't go all night, because it wanted to go all night with the drums. It was like, let's do it. Let's just like freaking rock on this drum. like we're clearing out some mega stuff. So if you want to, you guys definitely go back and watch the replay if you want to like continue doing the meditation over and over. Or heck, if you have your own drum, just tap into Mullen's energy and just like wail on that thing, because I think Mullen is like, we're clearing some big stuff, right now on the planet. So, and oh yeah, today is the new moon. Oh, so hey, what a wonderful time to connect to our plant friends and to work on healing is definitely on the new moon. So cool beans. Let's see. Lilith says, thank you so much. Yap soon, lovely. Yep, I'll yap you soon. All right, guys. I will catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye.